I'm getting fresh pizza for dinner tonight.
I had 3 or 4 breadsticks. I really want to meme that, but it's not my child, so I can't.
Wait, what?
Olivia, she was doing this, right? And like, how do you feel about Olivia? I had 3 or 4 breadsticks today. It's like up there, look at all those chickens. It's like, what?
Because I touched the cat's rear.
Yeah.
I still remember that one.
Okay.
Dude, I'll have to tell chat that story. Love you too. Be safe. Be sweet. No. No. I think it's too complex. I think it's complex. Pepper says hi, Varashi. Just watch your video on the awkwardness. You couldn't agree more. Good. I'll talk a little bit about that. Just because I've had some nice. I had a really interesting response that I think deserves, not from awkward, but from a comment that I think we had some interesting points. Which I figured is probably worth taking a look at here. See if I can get a good video. I gotta get all the announcements. Sorry for the delay. We're getting all the situations sorted out. Torb, Reaper, rework discussion, hammer time, Spilo, and more succulent juice. Link in the replies. Yeah, what's up, Sorsen? I'm gonna say Spilo isn't the timing angles guy, but also the nuance guy. Ooh. Yo. Yeah, I don't know why Mario's all like obsessed with going in there now. That's par for the course. Torp, rework, and Reaper. Discussion starting soon. Come say hey. Also other. What's the docket today, Mr. Coachman? Well, we'll talk a little bit about Iliari nerfs. Iliari, by the way, I've got the proper pronunciation right. Crow battle, hello. Ask Spilo, some discussion on the awkward thing, just a little bit of like, but yeah. almost misspelled Reaper. Rework discussion, Spilo, hammer time, suck and more. And I need a good meme. Oh, that's an old one. That one is still really funny. All right, ping the Discord. I think everything is ready. This is why the intro movie needs to come back. Maybe. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll do it occasionally. I kind of like just sitting and chatting half AFK. Internet has been lovely since I had a good friend of mine come over and help me with it. It's actually been amazing. It was a very complicated solution to the problem, but we figured it out. So, hey Henry, hello. Perillin, hello. What is the Reaper rework I'm hearing about? Have I been baited? No, you haven't been. No. Okay. So remember, it's the project that we're finishing. It's the project that we're finishing from last Tuesday, which was the DPS rework. Remember, we did Bastion, Sombra, Pharah, Junkrat, and we ran out of time because we were very thorough, so we actually ran out of time to do the other two, so we're going to finish the other two. And then hopefully in the future we can do some supports and stuff. The stupid patch day wiped all my codes though. So I actually had to like reschedule a session and a half, so that was kind of annoying. I was not expecting the patch today. And they wiped the codes too. Any rework discussion for Sombra and Hog? Sombra was done. I would recommend checking out last stream. I will share. Okay, you know what? Actually, if you guys want, we can start off with the conclusions from what we drew from the first 4 heroes, if you guys want. We can start with that if you guys want to. Let's start with that. So, first thing that we talked about was, let me get the little succulent thing going up here. Yeah, what's up, Paulify? Good to see everybody. Yeah, so here's the conclusions. I kind of went through it after stream was over, and I kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And this is over. I mean, you guys can see it in my Discord here, making sure. Okay. It was, where was it? Overwatch. They're still there. I mean, guys, there were a lot of ideas, and we're still going, and we're still going, and we're still going, and we're still going. And this is still open if you guys have any Reaper or Torbjorn ideas. Not exactly necessarily reworks, but buffs and nerfs too. And so there were a lot of ideas, which is why it took us so long. So here's our conclusions of what we have. Okay, Pharah. We thought, I think general consensus. And by the way, actually, I should probably update stream title. Hang on. Oh, I can do that in here. Rework discussion bias, because there's basically my bias is that I'm going to try to work towards making every character less frustrating to play into, more enjoyable to play subjectively, and more dynamic and better, healthier skill curve. And which is why we targeted so many of these heroes. So Pharah was basically the soldier TF2 movement style, more brief verticality, horizontal mobility, not hovering in the air. Rewards directs, not splash. So significantly nerf splash damage. Faster fire rate of the rockets to compensate. Barrage could function more like Valk in terms of freedom, like movement freedom, but also we maybe just leave Barrage as is, but has a cancel. There was also people thinking about like a salvo of rockets, like a, and then that's it. Shield HP to give her more self-sustain so that she can split more. So we were thinking probably like 50 shields or something like that. Hey, what's up, guys? Potential secondary ability. We weren't really sure where we went with this. Yo, what's up, mate?
Cooking over here.
Yeah, we're working. Thank you for the sub, mate. We weren't really sure about the secondary ability. Somebody suggested like a little fire blast that like heats the floor. Like an AoE ability, almost like Torb. ult, but not quite so potent. Maybe a slow, maybe somebody had the suggestion of an ability boost ultimate where you use the ultimate, but it's like a really, really short, like it's like an ultimate that's like pulse bomb level or even faster. And it just basically boosts different abilities. I won't go into that. You'll need to go back and check the stream. It was a really good idea. There's like lots of little tiny things we could do with Pharah. And then giving damage fall off is on splash damage. I don't even know if this is a thing they could code, but I feel like that would be really good as well. So anyway, that's kind of what we had for Pharah. Sombra one took one forever, but Sombra, basically 2 translocator charges with a range limit of how far you can translocate, like 25, 30 meters. So it's not, leave your translocator, you're using it more dynamically. That heals slightly, like 25 health per use of the translocator. Reduce hack damage multiplier, but increase base damage. Hack lockout plus damage boost duration reduced slightly for tanks specifically. No permanent stealth, 8 to 10 second duration, increased movement speed while in stealth, shrink the clip size. EMP was kind of torn for folks. I think there's lots of ways that you could tweak it. One of the ideas, by the way, the gap is like when we're like ideas we're not really sure about. Some ideas were like, what if we have like the more people you hit with EMP, the more self buff you give? So it's like less about hacking and damaging the EMP, but more about you steal their code or stupid pretend hacker crap there to where you actually buff yourself the more people you EMP. In terms of your damage or HP or whatever, right? There was another idea from a summer made about potentially reworking hack to be a strip where it removes any buffs that you have at that point in time. Nano boost, speed boost, bubble, damage boost. My only problem with that was that feeling like it could be very useless or overpowered in certain circumstances. And then people were also about maybe no invisible hack. And what if hack was like a skill shot, like a small projectile? That does damage or something like that. But I think that our concern there was like, what if it might be OP to just spam on tank then? And so then there's like a whole lot of rework with that. But I think even if you ignore all of these ideas here, I think we were pretty pleased with like this whole certain rework. It definitely makes her, keeps her skill curve intact without making her as frustrating to play against. Junkrat, again, these are the big ones that we wanted. These are the ones that, like the ideas that we weren't sure about. Concussive reworked the mine to not force vertical mobility, to kind of allow more horizontal mobility. Think more like Pharah's concussive blast, more like that. Mine has a tendency to send you up, and that kind of it's actually a bad thing with Junkrat a lot of the time. Reduce the damage to remove the one shot, so it goes to 70 damage. Now, to compensate for that nerfs, we're going to be basically less damage on primary fire. So maybe like 100 damage, 90 damage, but it's faster moving. You guys think about like the arc of Junkrat is like, slow moving. This one, it'll be faster moving and more of a direct arc. So it's actually it's a projectile still, but it's actually a lot easier to aim at long ranges. So it gives them a lot more dynamics. And some people are also there like, what if we could trigger the passive, like dropping a mine when you're airborne? There's like little goofy things that we could do like that. My thing with Mei is I think there's some tweaks with Mei. I think Mei's mouse 1 was a subjectively bad move. I think Mei is honestly okay. The only thing that might change with Mei is maybe her ult, but I think Mei is fine personally. I think the Mei mouse 1 thing was not good. The freeze, it's almost useless outside of small nuances, and it's really annoying in those nuances. But wall, ice block, her right click, her icicle, all of those are fine. Like I've played a lot of Mei, and Mei's fine. She's pretty dynamic. She's a little bit tough to play. I think Mei's actually done very well in Overwatch 2 personally. And the only thing you could argue is that her mouse 1 is still a little bit tweaky, and the ult is still a little bit inconsistent. And then there's some of the ideas with Junkrat. The big thing was like, what do we do with Bear Trap, right? Like Bear Trap is not powerful enough, and it's super frustrating. So like he needs something to do with Bear Trap. People were saying, first off, Riptire damage reduction, but it boops you now like more than it does. Would that be something to toy with? I'm not sure. Remove Bear Trap. We thought Peg Leg, small explosive AoE in a 2 to 3 minute range. Maybe a jump jet like launches you up. Maybe a weak burn effect like dynamite. Maybe a flamethrower with his think like Mei freeze, but much bigger AoE on a long cooldown in front of you. Again, like potentially really bad ideas, but we're just throwing random crap at the wall. Something like a Venomine, small explosive that you can put on a flank. That could be a secondary ability. People were talking about like a tripwire. I'm not as much of a fan of that because that just seems like trap with an extra step. And people also about potentially reducing the damage on bounce on Junkrat, but then there's some conflicting opinions about that. That's also part of his skill expression, so it's something that you kind of have to keep an eye on. Hey guys, good to see everybody. And then the last one was Bastion, and this one was surprisingly hard. So Bastion, some of the big ones we were thinking about is speed boost in his non-turret form, small speed boost, think like Genji speed boost, right? Moves slightly faster. Hitbox needs to be a slightly smaller in recon form, and buff the fall off in his mouse one, so he doesn't really deal with fall off quite as hard in medium ranges. So trying to buff his non-turret form. And then this is the really big one. Put turret on a resource, not a cooldown. So you only have, like, let's say 8 seconds total in turret that regenerates slowly over time. So you can kind of go back and forth and back and forth. So what that means is that it gives you more flexibility about when you want to go turret form, when you don't want to go turret form. And honestly, if it's on a resource, you could even cut down 7, 8, maybe even like 6 seconds maximum, right? So it's very brief periods of time, but you recharge it. And then every time you use it, it takes 2 of those seconds down at least. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, you kind of go back and forth, but it's more of a resource, less of a cooldown. And then there's a lot of other ideas. Old ultimate, you could keep an eye on the splash damage. You could have a faster fire rate than it used to, but reduce the damage to like 175, so it's no longer a one-shot anymore. That was one of the ideas we came up with. The other thing too as well we were saying is that change the splash damage reward on sticky nade so it doesn't actually do self damage, but make nade only do 100 damage instead of 130, and lower the cooldown to 6 seconds so he has more reliable mobility. There was a couple of other ideas we had here, like turret form can headshot but does significantly less damage, adjust spread accordingly, lower ammo in turret form, basically maybe rewarding aim in turret form, but this was a very problematic and contested solution, so we're not really sure about this, if this is a good idea or not. And then they were also thinking about if you wanted more dynamics with Bastion, giving him another weapon, shotgun, a different functioning weapon in recon form that might toy with some flexibility, but again, ideas that we're not really sure on. Yeah. Do I do VOD reviews on stream sometimes? Yes, I usually, so almost all my VOD reviews are done, recorded, either private sessions that are unlisted, or we do a recorded publicly and posted on my Spilo 2 channel. I'll sometimes edit them and put them on my Spilo 1 channel. But we usually also start stream with a 30-minute quick replay review. Today didn't work out because the codes got wiped, but yeah. Okay, so that's what we have. They cost money, right? Yes, but there's also all of the VOD reviews that are public for free on the Spilo 2 YouTube channel, and there are hundreds of them for every single hero except Torbjorn, which is a shame because I just did a Torbjorn VOD review yesterday, but it was a private VOD review, sadly. So, you know, no bueno. You got, I'm sorry, you guys aren't gonna be able to see it. It was a good VOD review. One of you guys needs to send in a Tor VOD review. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, because it was a lot of fun. It's been like 3 years since I've coached Torb, and it was awesome. It was fun. Yeah, codes got wiped. Super tilting. Roundabouts. Roundabouts are good. What is it that they say that like roundabouts in a lot of ways are better than traffic lights? I don't know the whole math behind it. Yeah. I gotta look at a Kiriko VOD. Yeah, there are a ton of Kiriko VODs. In fact, you can also, like, you can go on my Discord if you're like, I don't know how to find the Kiriko VODs. Just go to Spilo stuff up in here, Coaching VOD Compendium, and then in here, let me make sure here. Yeah, so you can go in Coaching VOD Compendium. I think there's a better way of doing this. And then you can go Kiriko, and there's 34 results, and these are all for free. Versus a Korean pro, oh, that sucks. But yeah, anyway, long story short, so let's get on the Reaper Torbjorn train. All right, so I want to start at the top. Let's get our little juicer here. Let me close down all the windows I don't need to open. I don't need Overwatch open actually right now. I think we're good to go. Yeah. So let's take a look here. So what do you guys want to start with? You know, actually, I'm gonna let y'all vote. Do you guys want to start with Reaper or Torb? Let's start up a poll. Don't type in chat. Who? Reaper, Torbjorn. I'll let you guys vote in chat. Who do we want to start? We're gonna do both. We are gonna do both, but who do you want to start with? I wouldn't recommend Jake's VOD review of Grand Finals last year. Not because Jake's not good, Jake's great, but the playstyle for Kiriko is completely different. The reason that the Kiriko playstyle was the way it was last season was because Kiriko's HPS was completely busted out the goop. That's almost completely gone now. So I would, in fact, copying Jake's VOD review would be an actively negative thing. I would not do that. I wouldn't even look at my VOD review of the grand finals last year. Like I said, it wasn't the coach. Jake's great. It's not good. Oh, Stefano. Looks like Reaper's going to get the first pull. And to be very clear, guys, that not all of these are necessarily, oh, total reworks. This hero is completely awfully designed. I think that's the case for a couple of heroes, but I actually don't even think that's necessarily the case here. So these might just be minor tweaks. Now, I say that because I thought for sure that was going to be Bastion, but it turned out Bastion, and people had a lot of really good ideas with Bastion. So it ended up being a lot more complicated. So we're in no rush. We are going to do a thorough job. We're going to come up with some good ideas. I don't want to sit here and complain about Overwatch 1 DPS hero designs unless I have something to provide the table. And that's what we're going to do today. So if you have an idea, drop it in the Discord. If you haven't already, we're going to go through all the Reaper ideas. I'm going to go off of my exclamation mark bias and focus on the ones that I think give him better skill expression, a little bit more dynamics, maybe fix some of the problems that are frustrating to play with and against Reaper. Again, my opinion is not perfect, flawless. And if I skip over your opinion, and it does not mean that your opinion is bad, I might be just a total jackass. So I hope that nobody gets their feelings hurt. It's just my opinion of things, which is far from flawless. And I'm also going to skip over people that might have redundant or similar ideas. Not because I think that your idea is bad, but just because we've already seen it before. So there are a lot of people yesterday would have good ideas, but a lot of people had similar ideas, so it was pointless to like spend too much time. And because there's so many ideas, I have to be in efficiency of time. So I do wish your demise, yes. Okay, let's take a look at Reaper here. Reaper, nothing Reaper. Reaper, remove spread and make him long range hit scan. Come on, man. Oh man, we had some of these yesterday, dude. Okay, I'm not gonna say it. You guys, if you guys were in the Discord, you saw that one Junkrat OTP that got mad that I don't know if he got mad at me because I thought he was joking about the Glock for Junkrat suggestion. I thought he was joking, but I guess he wasn't, and he got very, very mad, and said some unkind things. But you know, I don't know if you guys caught that yesterday. Some of you guys did. Okay, Reaper automatically fades after ulting, even if the regular ability is on cooldown. The fade can be canceled. I don't think it really changes anything. I think it's an interesting idea, but I don't think it's much of a deal. If you're gonna rework, I think it gives them more survivability. I understand the logic behind it, but we're trying to look for something that's like a little bit more impactful. If you're gonna rework Reaper, I think you could use more versatility. Agreed. And again, when I say rework, it's not any like crazy thing. It could just be a couple tweaks. He's a tank tumbler, mass musher, if will. Only great against slow tanks and does well against others at close range. Problem is that it restricts place on decent fast finger. I think he needs more. I think he'd have his heal on damage nerfed for a small speed boost on damage. Not lose his speed, but 3 seconds. You can have a stronger frontline presence. You know what? I don't know how I would implement it, but some form of situational speed boost is an idea. Could it be wildly broken? Yes, but I appreciate your line of logic, because actually, you know what, I made this mistake every time yesterday. I'm gonna make it again today. What is the problem with Reaper, guys? You know what, chat? You tell me, what's the problem with Reaper? Playing versus, playing against, playing with, playing as, what's the problem? I'll give my takes in a few minutes, but I want to see what you guys got, because we don't want to go in blindly here. We might go in blindly and just come up with some ideas. But what are your ideas of like why is Reaper not like Tracer or Genji, and why is Reaper not just like annoying, but he's not very popular character, right? He's picked mostly out of necessity, you know. He needs to be close to get value, and that's right. I think that's not necessarily a problem. Different heroes have different strengths. Widowmaker needs to be far to get value, but
it's okay. I see you don't want me here.
Oh no, not this copy pasta.
I was used to being a reject. I hope you know when I grow up to be like Mr.
Thank you, Lightways, for the sub.
Successful that you will regret the way you
Good, thank goodness for cutting me off. Playing into counters is terrible, right? If you're not able to close the distance safely as Reaper, he feels terrible. Thank you for the sub, Lightways. He's so slow, too easy to get away from him. He sucks as a flanker right now because he's His fade doesn't go far enough to make flanks possible. There's no way of getting in and out besides TP, and TP sort of sucks getting out. And his damage feels inconsistent, feels less versatile. No way to show high skill. Yeah, shut up, Lightwaves. Reaper's kind of low skill, easy value hero at lower ranks. Okay, so I would agree that he is a flanker in theory that just doesn't seem to work out in execution. Even if it's short range flanker, because he just doesn't. He can't go in and out. Like, he just can't. Like, and what happens is as soon as the map opens up. Okay, so here's my hot take. Okay, here's my hot take. You ready for this? It's for the Reaper. It's less about counters. Okay, at least 50-50. It's less. It's 50% like, okay, dealing with certain suboptimal. And it's just as much about the map. Like, there are some maps that feel genuinely awful as Reaper. I was coaching Reaper day before yesterday on Shambali, and it felt really impactful until the map opened up, and then it was like, okay, well, your hero is literally useless, because other heroes that are short range at least have the mobility to like take an angle or a flank, but not Reaper. Like, you take Reaper at any decent skill or any decent elo, you're done, you're cooked. 70, think of it, 7 Declan, think of it this up. So it's like it's like he's like one of those heroes that's like, okay, I mean, seriously, chat, seriously. If we look at Overwatch heroes, all right, bear with me. Seriously, where are our short range heroes? Genji. Mei doesn't really count because Mei has range. Junkrat, but honestly, Junkrat has better range than Reaper. Symmetra has good range. I guess Sombra, but it's more like mid-ish range. Tracer, definitely. Like, there aren't very many short-range characters in Overwatch, and they exclusively have significantly better mobility than Reaper does. And even a hero like Junkrat doesn't have the mobility, but he at least has better range than Reaper. It's like basically Tracer, Reaper, Genji. Right. It's like Junkrat doesn't even really count. So it's like you have like, yeah, and if you go to the tank category, like look at all these short range characters, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, here's the funny thing, chat. Which of these characters have Reaper-esque range and struggle in higher elos on some maps? This character, phenomenal mobility. This character, phenomenal mobility. This character, reasonable mobility. This character, pretty strong mobility and has good range too. So he's not really a brawl tank, right? This character, Zarya, right, exactly, Zarya. So it's interesting to me that the character that has comparable range and mobility to Reaper, like, okay, Orisa has better range, Junker Queen has better range, and she has a speed boost, is Zarya, who also coincidentally happens to be struggling a little bit, right? It's not an accident that the character that also doesn't have great range and mobility also struggles in the tank line. You see that? I'm not saying that Zarya is totally not, I mean, Zarya has range, kind of ish range, but like she's left behind, and so she's struggling too. And so that kind of what feels like with Reaper too. Now, the nice thing about Reaper is that at least he feels like a relatively easy noob stomper hero. So if we're gonna give Reaper his cake, something needs to go about the character. He needs to be harder in some aspects, and that's going to be the challenge. Can we make this character more effective and a little bit harder to play, so that a bronze player can pick the character and get value, and a top 500 character can get the character and get value? Reaper is playable in certain circumstances, but he's not very dynamic. He's not very flexible. Oh, hey, Red Hood. I remember, yes. Reaper already got cake? Yeah, well, no comment on that one. So you have to be really careful about this. And I do think Reaper, some sort of situational speed boost is an idea that addresses these issues, but again, you have to be very careful, because Reaper is not a bad hero in low to mid ranks. He is very situationally very strong, so you got to be really careful. You posted a really nice idea? Okay, well, we'll get to it. I will get to every single idea. I will. I might not give a huge study, but I will get to every single hero. Reaper, he is an emo in his ult. Bring it. Okay, my gosh. You know, that's kind of an interesting idea. Is if okay, so here's my only problem. This is ironically a kind of an interesting like idea where your ult would be a speed boost, but I guess the problem would be that I feel like Death Blossom is iconic. Chat, what are your thoughts on Death Blossom? I feel like Death Blossom is kind of fun, you know, because we want a hero to be fun, and like while Death Blossom is definitely pretty situational, it is pretty fun. It would be hard to take away Death Blossom. I just think it would be, you would have to make a good argument to remove Death Blossom as opposed to, and so I would hesitate. I would hesitate. Okay, how would Rework Reaper? All right, let's see what we got. Passive. Keep his lifesteal passive to some of the tank busting modes, but add a passive that makes Reaper footsteps 50% quieter. It always feels dumb how some guy can literally turn to gas has loud footsteps. Make a Reaper difficult, not impossible to track through sound alone. Is it consistency with sound? Because honestly, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes Reaper is like super clomper, but also sometimes he is totally silent to me. You know what I'm saying? I think like this is a good point, but I do sometimes feel like that he's too quiet. I think it's inconsistent. Wraith form. Wraith is a pretty iconic part. I think that makes sense, but a couple things can be tweaked. Make Reaper invisible while using Wraith. Oh. My first response is no, but I need to be fair here. We need to think about it. I don't think the invisibility solves the problem though, right? Because it's the distance that he's able to cover. His mobility isn't enough. Would being invisible buy him more time? Maybe. I don't know. I think that doesn't address necessarily the fundamental issues with Reaper and just buffs him in another way. That's what we have to understand, is if we're talking about Reaper, if he's really strong at this and really bad at this, what we don't want to do is to continue to make him stronger at this. Now, I know some of you might disagree with that. We just need to make sure that he has a niche. I disagree. I don't think I think every hero needs to have a niche, but the niches should be less dominant. That's the Overwatch 2 strategy, and you don't need to take my word for it. That's how the game has been balanced. That's how the developers have objectively balanced the game, and they've said that's what how they want to balance the game. So Reaper gets a small burst of healing after exiting Wraith form. To not make him bust in 1v1s, the healing works like an inverted adaptive shield. The healing increases the less people are around Reaper. Adds animation of exiting Wraith form if punishable. So the fewer people are around you, the more healing you get. But wouldn't that make him busted in 1v1s? Because there's not going to be a lot of people around you. I don't know. It's odd. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing though, is while we're throwing stones at this idea, I want you guys to understand that these are the type of changes that I think we're interested here. Unless because I think like we want a little creativity here, you know? I think that we have to smack our heads against the wall over and over and over again and find something that works. So, you know, I think these are good ideas. This is in the spirit of the project, right? And we're trying to address the issues here. I'm personally not as much of a fan, but I appreciate it. When using his ult, Reaper can instantly teleport right behind any member of the enemy team without needing else. Because Reaper problem he can't access back latency. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. Nothing that blows my mind away. But the spirit is there. Make his TP not so much speed boost. Now this is interesting. Speed boost. What about speed boost after TP? Because by TPing, you're taking an inherent risk where you have to freeze for a second. What do you guys think about a small speed boost after TP? Small speed boost, like Genji speed boost, 10%. What about, and this seems reasonable. Decrease spread and reduce damage, right? So decrease spread, reduce damage. So again, he's still a short range character, but he has something that's more competitive at like a medium range. Fun to try. See, you guys are all downvoting this, but I like these ideas. Oh, wait, I downvoted this. Wait, did you edit this? This used to have Sombra feedback, right? I'm sorry. I think this. Are you in chat? Didn't you? This had Sombra feedback, right? And you just edited it to have Reaper, right? Chat, am I cracked? Have I finally lost it? I think I've lost it. I think it's over. It's over, guys. It's fine. It's done. You're finally seeing, because these aren't even. These are good. Like I think these are okay. Oh, it's for the Sombra and Pharah ones. Okay. All right. Well, I like your Reaper changes. TP on steps and TP. Yeah, I think these changes are good. I think these changes are good. Okay. No, I agree, Felix. Yeah, I agree. You want to keep him as a close range, but give him the capability to move around and close the distance. But the thing is, it's like, it's not as if people are contesting. Like Reaper is still the best close range DPS. There is no contesting that. So I think if we not nerf it necessarily, but we adjust it more towards mid range a little bit, it's not going to steal that niche. He's still going to be. What is an example of this? Like, okay, the Widow fall off range, right? Widow is still the best long range DPS, right? She just can't operate as strongly at super long ranges, right? And I think this is what Reaper does here. Like, look right here. And that's like best case scenario. It's just awful. Like a Tracer can one clip at that range. You know what I'm saying? So if you get it to where like I can actually do somewhat halfway decent damage here, honestly, if you do that, you could even toy with lifesteal and stuff. You could do all sorts of stuff. I don't know. I think like I agree with you. You'd have to be careful about like not tipping the scale. I agree with that. Give Reaper an ammo switch to a slow firing slug run that does a good amount of damage and then gets 4 of them before a reload. I don't know if I fully understand. Is Grigor even here? No, practice range is just weird with ping. Yeah, you get thrown into like Australia or something. It's like the 19th century. It's like the 19th century all over again. You don't even know what you're doing, minding your own business in the UK, Siberia, Australia. You're thrown in a penal colony. You don't even know what you don't know what you did wrong. But who's laughing now? Australians are the intelligent people with good teeth. And what does UK have? You know? Haha. Turns tabled. Like an old fire. And you know, okay, I will say that. Okay, yeah. Maybe there is something to be said about give Reaper a M2. Like slow firing slug round. Like big beef juice. You know, like maybe it's like the actual shotgun fire rifle. I don't know. There is something there. Reducing HP on Reaper. Wraith form heals. His passive can now overheal. these are some ballsy changes. But I think worth testing, no? I don't like the Wraith form healing ideas. I would agree with that. But having the passive overheal while reducing his max HP and having a kill shorten TP might be interesting. Yeah, that's true. What does it actually solve? That's true. That's true. What do you guys think about the getting a kill shortens a TP cooldown by 2 seconds? It'd make Reaper really strong in a brawl, but he'd still struggle beyond 5 minutes. That's true. That's true. See, this is why I can't. This is why I can't just echo chamber my ideas. You guys calling me out my crap. I think it's that worth putting down though. Kill shortens TP cooldown by 2 seconds. Chance, I think it's like one of those things that doesn't have a huge impact, but I still feel like giving him, having some sort of nuance that rewards securing a kill, opening up mobility, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Is it going to be in a vacuum? Is it by itself going to be good enough? No, but maybe in combination with other things. You kind of see what I'm saying? I'm a little concerned about the Wraith reset because that sounds like it might be too strong. I do think TP animation still could be faster, especially the launch of it. Am I the only one who feels that the problem with TP is the initial use of it? Not necessarily coming out of it, but going into it feels slow. See, yeah, I think going into it has to be faster. Coming out of it is honestly fine. Because the problem with TP is it's not an easy mobility cooldown to use because you still have to place it. Like you can mess it up, right? Like you have to place it properly. So that should be the only delay that you really have to worry about, you know? Like if TP was faster, especially on the launch, kills shorten TP by cool seconds, give Reaper an M2 with some nuance, reduce his effectiveness when he's not using his M2, consistency of sound, maybe a small speed boost after TP. And then what you do is with all this, if this turns out to be too broken, then you go back and you adjust. You go back and you adjust. You do number adjustments. I don't know. I think we're off to a good start. I think we're off to a good start. Remember, guys, we want Reaper to be stronger up here and weaker up here a little bit, right? And we want it to be harder to do these things. And I think these things definitely add some nuance here. Drop it in the thing, Bob. Drop it in the thingy here. Do they have top 500 playtesters? I don't think they do. I don't think that they do. It's a shame. I think like my problem with like Blizzard balancing is that they say they want their characters to be viable at all ranks, and I agree with that. You should balance for casuals. Sorry guys, that's just how it is. If a hero isn't strong or unplayable in lower ranks, that's a problem. But remember we talked about this. The irony is that like low skill cringe cancer not cheese characters, sorry, that's the term I want to use, are the ones that are those are the problems in low ranks more so than high ranks. Like yeah, you could toy with lifesteal, then toy with lifesteal. Because to me, it's like if you're balancing for pros and you're balancing for casuals, I think that if you're doing it properly, it hits both. I know I've already talked about this a million times. I have a bunch of videos on it, but yeah, that's mine. Yeah, lifesteal feels a little bit like a necessary evil in his current situation, but I definitely could see lifesteal being nerfed further if you give him things to do other than that. All right, Stefano, what do you got for me? Teleporter range increased by like 50 meters. Oh, Stefano does not pull back and has come up with some of our most unique and actually useful ideas, I will say. Teleport with the meteor strike UI. Okay. Allows free flight like Valk, guys. There goes my hero. He just like flies off into the sky. Watch him as he goes. Just can you imagine Wraith form into the skybox and just drop the helicopter Death Blossom? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's. Wait, stop, guys. Stop. Seriously, what if Wraith gave you bat verticality? Dude, what if... Dude, I'm telling you. Wraith form verticality? Dude, freaking Stefano, look at this. Here's what he does. He says stuff like this, and you're like, nah, dude, nah. What are you talking about? But then you're like, oh, wait a second. Allow free fight, like, Dude. Honestly, again, we'd have to really look. I mean, he would be busted. But we can toy with that, right? Like, we can toy with that. Shut up, Rob. We'll get there. Be patient. Remove the lifesteal passive. I definitely think lifesteal passive will need a tweak if these things come in. At least I would say cut it down by a pretty strong percentage. If Reaper isn't a line of sight of the enemy, gain 25 regen HP per second, 100% faster. Self regen is... maybe? I don't hate the idea of self-regen replacing lifesteal, but I don't know about this. I think part of cooldown management, to me, it should be less about line of sight, because here's the thing about the support passive. It's really, really powerful, okay? But at least it's like, if you take the time to disengage from combat, you should get rewarded for it, right? This seems like it replaces good cooldown management. I don't know. I don't like this. What if you guys think? What do you guys think about the regen per second? Because okay, so hear me out. Reaper, because his mobility is struggling a little bit, which to be fair, we have addressed a little bit. He needs sustain from lifesteal to be able to do anything by himself. Yeah. So we're trying to figure out a way to give Reaper some sustain that's not lifesteal. But how do we do that without being broken? I don't like it tied to a cooldown. I agree with you guys there. I don't think we need a new ability. It doesn't seem like it's lore appropriate to give him shields, but that's definitely where my heart tells me. To give him like 50 shields, you know what I'm saying? Let Reaper regen during Wraith. That's actually not a bad idea. Not like a shield, but shields. You know, like the Zenyatta HP thing?
The soul orbs that he eats.
Hey, Prime, thanks for the sub. 58 months. Dude, 5 years. Decrease lifesteal, replace it with increasing his speed that scales how much damage you do. Like, what do you guys think about either 50 shields or like maybe Wraith heals you for up to like 50 HP or something like that? I feel like from a gameplay perspective, I like the regening shields. But I don't know if it like fits the lore or whatever, you know? Because that's a way to like play a little bit more self-sufficient without being broken. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's think about it later. Oh, look, there it is. There it is. 40% more accurate than primary fire, dealing 50% less damage. Again, more alternate fire options. I see that you could do it either way. You could either have an M2 that's more accurate or an M2 that's less accurate, but more powerful up close. Death Blossom, movement speed penalty reduced to... So... It's not a bad idea. Whoa, there is a lot here. There is a lot here. Okay. Okay, hold on to your butt cheeks, guys. Death Blight. Using any ability or attack will stack... Is it... Arrows will be dealt to the target. This seems so complicated. Yeah, I don't know. It seems a little bit too much. Yeah, this is a lot. I will say this. What do you guys think about the irony here is that this is like super complicated, but this is interesting. What if we made Death Blossom like really buffed Death Blossom's animation speed, but reduced its range? The internet's doing fine, Defty. Thank you. What do you guys think? Would you need a 30-40 meter? Like, is that even feasible for this hero? Yeah. I just don't see the need for having long Death Blossom anymore with what we're doing. Or even if you... honestly, even long Death Blossoms right now seem more like it just hoping that the enemy team doesn't know you're there. Shorten TP range. Sorry, not Death Blossom. Did I say Death Blossom? TP. Shadow Step. What is it now? 40 meters? 30 meters? 35, yeah. Like... You just don't need 35 meters. 25? Maybe? I don't know. Okay, and interesting ideas. I don't want to like poo-poo this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just maybe just a little bit too much for like what we're aiming for right now. I do appreciate the emphasis. I think a lower range shadow step with faster speed. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm aiming for here. Death Blossom provides 30% knockback resistance and lifesteal reduced. I mean, I guess the whole lifesteal thing is like really under contest, really under heat. All right, Reaper. Utilize revamp. Go. Moving with a normal movement moves the direction he's looking. Ah, so this guy puts Reaper Wraith on crack. So again, we have Aerial Wraith. Wraith, lower duration, faster speed. This guy, look at this. Only 1 second Wraith, but 200 movement speed. Miss Arionette, can you just ping me in your thread? And then I will look at it. Yes, if I miss a thread, just ping me in the thread. That's just worse fate. I mean, maybe, but okay, maybe but there's could be some nuance here, right? The difference between this and fate is that you're visible and there is direct verticality. It's not a vertical. Fate has verticality, but with fate we're talking about you could go straight up in the air. I think this is interesting. And again, it doesn't have to be 1 second, 200%. It could be 1.5 seconds, 160%, kind of a thing. Interesting. I don't know. I think the general spirit of this change, no pun intended, is good. And remember, we're just spitballing ideas here. Minimum duration. The shadow step ability removed. Well, I'm concerned because he needs mobility. Damage dealt now reduces the cooldown of Wraith form. Okay. 200 damage is worth roughly 3 seconds of Wraith form's cooldown. Yeah, you can, Def, do. You know, maybe I'm in the minority, but I'm not as much of a fan of doing damage to charge up mechanics as much, especially something that's as impactful as this. Like, that's by far the worst part about Sojourn. As fun of a hero as she is, especially since they've had to continually nerf and nerf and nerf and nerf Rail, like, the worst part about Sojourn is that, like, if you feel not super impactful until you build Rail. So I'm not as big of a fan of this type of mechanic unless it played out really well. Smoke grenade. It kind of looks more like a grenade. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't disagree that this has possibilities, but I guess I'm just too personally scared to suggest something like this unless I'm really confident that it's going to work. You know, so I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just think it's too ambitious for our project, kind of a thing. You know, I would put it this way. This would be an ability that you would want to test, like if you were an Overwatch dev behind the scenes. But what I'm trying to aim for with this project is something that's like, obviously we've done some pretty ballsy things, right? I mean, we're not playing it super safe here, but maybe this is a little too extreme. What do you guys think about this idea? Basically, lower general DPS with Death Blossom, but more focused around a specific target, an area. Stefano. You make Reaper more. Yeah, it's a play, guys. I mean, obviously, we're not only picking ideas that are gonna. Some ideas for just fun or fun. Descendant developers, I wish. Here's why I'm saying. Here's why I'm doing this. All right, guys. It's a personal project. When Life Weaver first came out, I complained. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I complained. I threw a lot of trash. I was like, "This sucks. This is terrible. Terrible design." I was really disappointed. And then I was like sitting in the shower, and I'm like, you know, if I'm not going to provide some sort of, if I personally, I know I don't have to be a developer. You're not a developer, then why are you? I just would feel more comfortable if I could offer more constructive feedback, is what I was saying. And I feel like when I complain about, like, you know, these characters are poorly designed, if I at least have an idea of what I would like better, you know. Skill expression and death was my goal here. I like this. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll put it as a potential idea. Cone aim Death Blossom. It's an idea. It's an idea. And your ideas, to be fair, Trico, we're always very interesting. And again, I appreciate that. I feel like we just straight up stole a couple of your ideas at some point. Yesterday or day before yesterday. Okay, so generally the deeper we go in, don't be overwhelmed, guys. Like, we're not even halfway. We generally go faster the more that we go, because people start to repeat themselves. Okay, Reaper main. Movement speed increased. Again, something that I don't know that I would be 100% comfortable doing just flat out, but definitely has the right spirit. Hey, Epic, what's up, mate? Yeah, Trico, the only thing I will say is that my compliment is, like, I don't know how valuable it is. I'm not exactly a pro at this, so I'm glad you take it as a compliment, but, you know, I'm kind of a dope myself. Less frontline presence. Spread reduced, damage reduced. Again, nothing that we haven't seen before. Seems reasonable. Ult cost increased. Movement speed reduced. This is all good. Movement speed penalty. Bye. Be safe, please. Move two. Movement speed penalty does not apply until touching the ground for the first time. Woo! Dude, yo, like jumping from the top ropes, man. Added fall off, dealing 20 DPS trigger and then falling down. Maybe. I mean, it's interesting. Movement speed penalty doesn't apply if Reaper isn't touching the ground. Guys, he's wraithing up! Get out! Get out! That's actually kind of funny. Do you have any suggestions on how to learn to coach? Practice with Overwatch University. Oh, you're talking about a different game. Honestly, just start practicing with lower ranked players. That's the best thing. And just start, because you need to practice like your ability to not just understand the game, but communicate. And you'll be less self-conscious about your game knowledge if you're coaching lower ranked players, so you can focus more on your communication and how you're delivering the information, you know? That's kind of funny. Okay. Speed boost wraith form increased. I mean, yeah, I think this is pretty much, I think folks agree with this one. Maximum duration reduced, minimum duration reduced. Can now jump higher in wraith form. Yep. Cast time reduced, invincibility time reduced, recovery time reduced. Yeah, I think that these pretty much line up with what we want to do with Reaper for the most part. Maybe let him TP during wraith form. That's not an idea I've heard of before. That definitely kind of like lets him get out of jail a little bit more free, which isn't necessarily a bad thing with Reaper. Like, you know, you shoot somebody, you lose a duel, and you're wraith, and you're like, it's like you're wraithing, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna die. And like now, but now you can actually get out. Maybe. Yeah, exactly, Epic. Like, you could actually like wraith a duel and like fade out. Maybe that's too much get out of jail free card. Maybe there needs to be some sort of investment, you know? It's an interesting idea though. Takes too long, I think. Yeah, maybe. If you know, you know. See, I told you we'd go faster, you guys. Reaper, secondary fire. Another secondary fire thing. I'm really interested in the secondary fire thing now. Hold right click to charge a 40 damage shot, which consumes 2 MF, all starts at 15 meters, can headshot. Wait, it's a finishing tool for someone who's barely out of reach. Yeah, I think like a range option, maybe a charged thing like Winston. It's an interesting idea, especially if it can headshot. That is true, Green Reaper. Now let's let him throw his shotguns at an enemy for 30 damage. Wait, I got it. Wait, I got it, guys. I got it. Wait, throw. Wait, guys. Wait. This is literally Reaper with his shotguns, y'all. Oh my gosh, I'm weak. Oh, again, headshot. Oh gosh, I gotta write that one down. That is comedy gold. Oh my gosh. All right, where are we at? I love that. See, you guys have baited me because we start off these sessions like this, and I'm like, oh, this is a troll post, and then halfway through, there's like an actual. It's like Stefano. It's like a legitimate, like, good idea. Passing through enemies in wraith form makes them visible through walls is bizarre. I don't think it's a good change, but it's interesting. Sunshine Red, thank you for the raid.
Trash can.
Hope you're doing well. We're talking about fixing, buffing, reworking Reaper. We're doing Torb immediately afterwards. We just we had a suggestion to let Reaper throw his shotguns at an enemy for 30 damage. So we're busy discussing that one naturally. Thank you so much for the raid, Sunshine. I appreciate it. All right, chat. We gotta do it one more time for the Sunshine viewers. Once again, reload lets Reaper throw his shotguns at an enemy for 30 damage. So what that looks like visually, just because I have to see it one more time. This is Reaper with the shotguns. Please, one more time. Okay, Shadow Step now lets Reaper teleport in the sky and not on the. Now that is strange. Just teleport in the sky. Yeah. Okay. If we're actually make changes to Reaper, we should take into account how the last balance needs to be nerfed. We cannot Wraith out of Zarya ult Junk Trap, make it more killable. I think the change is fine. But if you're looking to change it more, I think it would benefit from teleporting slightly faster, slightly longer cooldown. Offensive wise, I could punch and take it for overextending. Defense, I could win 5 die. Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that's fine. I think we basically addressed all this. We have a couple of ideas basically already. If you guys are new with Sunshine's stream, exclamation mark bias will probably get you a good starting point with like kind of like what we're looking for. We're basically thinking like better skill curves for these characters that they're not super easy to play, but they're more rewarding if you get all the details out. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And we have like we've done it with Bastion, Sombra, Junkrat, Pharah 2 days ago. Today we're doing Reaper Torb. Reaper OTP here. I think he's pretty balanced, to be honest. I don't know if it changes it so you can cancel it pressing Q again and using Wraith form again, kind of like Cassidy. Yeah. And you guys, if you want to drop your suggestions, we got a slow mode channel in my Discord. We're gonna go through all the Reaper posts. Reaper, get rid of shotguns and a pair of daggers that do a little less damage. We need more melee heroes. That'd be funny. What was it? Who is it that said give Bastion a shank? And the entire rework was around Bastion lunging and shanking people. And that, dude, that's the most terrifying suggestion I've ever heard in my life. Can you just imagine like a 600-pound, 800-pound robot just like jumping at like 50 miles per hour, just like wham and shank? That's terrifying. Oh yeah, I guess cancel Death Blossom isn't really a bad idea. Cancel Death Blossom. I think a lot of these like transformation ultimates, being able to cancel them feels pretty darn good. They've done that with Roadhog. They've done that with Ramacha, right? You can cancel Ramacha, right? Yeah, if you post for a bunch of heroes, do it all in one message because it's on mega slow mode. Yeah. What am I looking at here? Oh yeah, there it is. The throw the gun for the headshot. What is this game? Seriously, what? Deceive Incorporated. Huh. Interesting. Reduce lifesteal. It's fun. All right. I hope people are just like dropping Cassidy changes even though he wasn't on the list. Remove combat roll, remove Fan the Hammer, remove his name, Nade, give him a jetpack. Oh my gosh. Make Wraith faster but duration shorter. We talked about that. It's definitely something that's on the table. Reduce the cooldown of Wraith on hit. I think probably not the direction we want to go. The lower health he is, the more speed boost he gains to chase down opponents. What do you guys think about speed boost here? We've had a lot of ideas with speed boost. We've talked about like speed boost and missing health. We've talked about gaining more speed the more damage that you have done. We talked about the one I liked, which was a brief burst of speed boost out of teleporter. And the reason why I like that one is because it rewards the type of playstyle that we want. And the other thing about speed boost out of teleporter is we already have a hero that has an ability like that. Orisa, right? When Orisa uses Javelin Spin, she has increased movement speed for what, 2.5 seconds or after the Javelin Spin. So it's essentially, it's exactly what Javelin Spin already does, but you do it with TP. So I don't know. I don't know where I want the speed to be. I definitely think Wraith needs to be faster, but I'm wondering even if okay. Okay, let's keep going here. See, look at this. We're cruising now that we've got, like, we did the initial. We ate our vegetables. We grinded through everyone's initial ideas, and so we're getting through it. So I teleport movement speed buff. Yeah. People are still dropping yesterday's ideas. Spread reduce cannot be canceled by using Wraith form. I mean, that's certainly an idea. Even if you don't cancel it, I think just canceling it period is fine. Reaper can TP ball on Wraith. Foots and reduce. Getting a kill grants Reaper 25 HP. Genuine. New ability. Reaper can place a missed respawn point by releasing. Reaper loses 58. Reaper loses 50 HP. Once Reaper dies, he respawns when the ability is cast. I don't like it. That seems like really strange. I appreciate the creativity though. What are we looking at here? Wait, what? Oh, I thought I was looking for specifically Reaper things. Is Grey Falcon here? Nah, shut up, Genuine. Have I played the hero missions? Yeah, I'm a whale. At least with the hero. I tried them. They were fun. They were okay. Were they worth $15? Probably not. Hi, America. Yes, agreed. Play more into the shadows more. Quite literally, replace this Wraith form with a shadow form ability, where you turn into a shadow on the wall. You can only travel on walls as a shadow and cannot be targeted while shadow from him. TP is not shadow step and can be used to I'm not as much of a fan of this one. I like the creativity though. Like, it just seems like too I don't know. It seems really strange. Are you guys? No, I'm talking about the PvE. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. This is a good idea too, but I don't think we have to remove the shotguns. I think it's okay to have a shotgun hero, just as long as that's not all he does. There's high damage on headshots, but bad body shot damage. I'm just zooming through these because most of these are fairly similar to stuff we've already seen. No. I don't think so. Again, like, this is just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, like, flawless with this stuff. Tighter spread. Much more rewarding. Damage reduction on the leap. Landing on a target will do 15. I just don't think these are 100% necessary. They're good ideas, but I think what we have with like Wraith and TP now feels a little bit better. I think this is what Leap would look like.
Are you scared? I'd love a closer look.
That's kind of cool. Honestly, I would just be a fan if they replaced the animation with something more like this. I mean, come on, chat. Imagine if TP functioned exactly the same, had a faster animation, and looked like this. Like that'd be terrifying. What's up, Gregor? Thanks for the sub, mate.
Your death give me life.
What? How good am I at meowing? I don't actually know. Oh gosh, you almost got me. You almost got me. I almost gave it a shot. I don't know. I mean, it would be cool if they gave it another animation. What did Tech say? Did Tech say anything? I'm surprised Tech Press said anything that's worth give Reaper Genji wall climb. Oh. No. I don't know if I like the idea of like a lunch. A launch jump. Sometimes things just I legitimately like, it's not even like, it's just the words don't come out right. Like I don't know why. Instead of just standing there. Cooler. Maybe just we do this cooler TP animation. Cooler TP animation. Let's just do that one. I don't know why I said lunch. We talked about this one already. It's a good question. Ooh, ammo steal? That's weird. Interesting. Tweak his mid-range by lowering his spread of his shotguns. Depending on how much ammo he has. His spread would increase as his ammo decreases. It's an interesting idea. Again, pretty crazy. TP. Make TP almost instant. Yeah. Mr. Beast Finance. Increase TP animation speed by 50% and decrease the cooldown. Be fun if you had a temporary 25% speed boost after TPing. Yeah. Do you need Mr. Beast Finance? Okay. Would be nice to give him more utility in general, but it's all cost more. Increase his head hitbox by 3 times the size so easy to kill though. Oh, watch out, they are coming. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm gonna say. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting idea. Yeah, you're doing it right. Yeah. Like, here's the thing, guys. You guys are throwing some crap at the wall that I don't know. Like, maybe it's a bad idea, maybe it's a good idea. This is an interesting idea. It would definitely add some nuance. I don't know. Just because I don't love it immediately doesn't mean it's a bad idea. I appreciate y'all's contributions, because you were joking about the ammo steal? Nah, you were not joking. You're not joking. That you're just a psychopath. You're just a psychopath. Too late. Too late. Everybody make fun of Green Reaper. Stop! Why am I seeing my face? Stop! Ah! Why are you doing this to me? Why do we not have a hero with a backstab bonus? I mean, this is interesting. Like, really? No, stop! Get out of my head! Get out of my hand, man! Please! No, wait, it shouldn't be too loud. I reduced the gain of my mic. Look. Hey, hey, hey! See, it's peaking, but it's not too loud, right? Woo, woo, woo! See? Right? You guys are gaslighting yourself into thinking it's loud. It's not actually loud, is it? Is it? Right. See? You guys are gaslighting yourselves. That's it. There's no red. Look. There's no red. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, there's a little bit of red. There's a little bit of red. Let's turn down the gain just a teeny little whip. A little bit of red. There. Blair. There. Woo, 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 woo. See? We're good. We're good. We're totally fine. Nah! Stop! Ah! Stop it! Yeah. Reaper, Wraith form, no more invulnerability, reduced damage taken by 90%. Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely interesting. The problem with marking an enemy that enables you to lifesteal is, you know, I don't think we need to do anything crazy with that. I think that, like, I think we already have a somewhat simpler solution to a problem. Average Discord mod. Maybe. I feel like anything that controls part of your character might be maybe a little overdone. Okay. Is the reason why you're talking about Torbjorn Reaper reworks? Basically, we've done Sombra, Farah, Junkrat, Bastion. We're just doing some of the more, like, characters that don't scale with skill as well. Yes. Okay, so what do we have for Reaper? Okay, let's wrap this up into a nice tight package, okay? Oh, your thread. Yes, sorry. I almost forgot. Area. Overwhelming force at close range. He's fairly easy to hit shots that doesn't let him pass and gives him sustain. The main difficulty involves getting into that range. I never liked his ability as much. He feels right off feels like just freezy when it's uncloning. It's almost seems like I'm getting a 4K or getting a skill and rescue. It's randomly color and a frustrating when he's able to know how to react. To make Reaper more viable, I like to achieve a few things, keep his identity as a really close range character, make him more versatile picks with anything to be approximately playing comps to the master way isn't suited. Changes. Remove his lifesteal passive attention, but it's not something you can consciously make use of. It's just sort of there. Decrease the length of time you can stay in Wraith form, increase the speed you move in, increase the jump and mimicking the movement of the shadows, and then the cinematics decrease the cooldown somewhat. Sure. We talked about that. Oh, and imagine it's slower and longer lasting than more sway, but not the same as now middle ground between the two. This will make a stronger ability for chasing kills for a faster ability and having to think more about where you want to go before you use it. You wouldn't just be able to stand there and avoid that anymore. Jump height would give it some more vertical mobility. Remove teleport. This reduces the burden of mobility entirely into Wraith, meaning that you would have to think more carefully about using it. Okay. So Wraith kind of is the mobility here. Okay. Add new ability, Lifesteal Grip. Lifesteal Grip is a new close range ability which will make up for the loss of the same without passive activity. Causes the right size squad space in front of with the clawed hand shadows falling with the kicks of it does an enormous amount of damage, or does an amount of damage. 50-70, let me know if it sounds good. Over a short time around how long it takes to do damage. This heals Reaper for the amount of damage it does, but in addition, if it kills the target, it does double healing to the Reaper. So it's kind of like an execution that yeah. The only problem with this is it would need to be very fast animation to justify, because think about it, if you're talking about making him a very close range character and it's a very close range ability, if it doesn't do a lot of damage, then it's, even if it is the heal, it's not going to be worth using when you could just take another shotgun shot. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm up close to you, do I want to do my Lifesteal Grip, or do I just want to take another shot? It's going to do more damage than this, even though the heal is there. So if there wasn't, like, if there isn't a way to, like, it would have to be like an animation cancel. Like, it'd have to be like, bam, bam. You know what I'm saying? It's an interesting idea. The range will be bigger in the melee, but so quite short. Made on Junkrane's action will activate instantly. Okay, maybe that's your thing. It's like, you know, hey bozo, like, finish the thing. Okay. What if it overheals? Yeah, maybe. Primary fire decreases spread length. How fast I can do more damage over long range, but lowers camera count to 6. New secondary fire, necrotic shot. After short charge up, Reaper fires both shotguns and once firing a slug on the hit scan shot. A hit scan shot. This hit scan shot is no spread, but deals the damage 50 over the time, maybe 2.5 seconds. This replaces the ability slot previously copied by his passive. These two changes give Reaper a little more poke damage, letting him deal a little more consistent. The necrotic gives him source of guaranteed damage and ability to secure on kills, fleeing targets without ink. However, its damage over time and charge up leaves to being less effective than the private fire at close range, makes up for Reaper having the sustained brawl and that's a bit close ends. I think this is bad. Not a bad idea, but it would be very bad. I don't think it would do that job. You would have to like, especially the 50 damage over 2.5 seconds would be really hard to like secure kills with. For Reaper's ultimate, oh no. For Reaper's ultimate Shadow Blossom. Reaper generates an AoE area shadows with crosshair points within a reasonable range. Anyone steps in this takes some damage or time is converted to health over health for the Reaper. It covers a similar area to Death Blossom, but does way less damage, has no damage as long as you're in AoE. If Reaper steps in this area, gets a small P boost. These Reaper result weaken means the Reaper farm will play in front of the yeah, these are good ideas. These are good ideas. I'm just not sure. I kind of agree with Stefano here, where rather than why say many word when few word do trick? You kind of see what I'm saying? If we can take what we already have and just make some adjustments, I think we lean into that. I like your changes though. I do, especially if we were able to tweak some of the numbers. Having like a lifesteal grip that can animation cancel apply instantly, I think is good. I just don't know if it's necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like people Reaper dig underground, put people in the grave. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna compile this all later, but can we cut some fat here? Can we trim this down? Some form of situational speed boost. We got to think about that. Consistency with sound. Yes. Decrease sped, reduce damage, maybe, yes. Give Reaper M2, yes. Kill shorten CP, cooldown by 2 seconds, maybe. Yes. 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 Who is reacting to this? Ah, shocker. Reduce Best Blossom movement speed, shorten TP range. Yeah, see, these all seem fine. You can remove short TP range. Should I? If we make TP better, isn't that good enough? Like faster? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Maybe. No more. No more. No more. Last two here. We'll do two more. We'll do two more. Let's see if there's anything new to add here. Again, I'm still not willing to abandon this idea. I think 50 HPS is over the top, though. This is a little too much, I think. Tech Dress. He's a Patreon, so his suggestion is going to suck. To like, so fire during wraith form. So basically you can shoot during wraith form, but you just take less damage. Maybe. My solution is I agree with the whole mindset that Wraith shouldn't just be a get out of jail free card every single time. But the way to solve that, I think, is like to increase the movement speed and reduce the duration, just like a normal mobility cooldown almost. Yeah. I don't know. I think it addresses the problem, but I think there's better solutions. I think. Okay. Guys, is it Torb time? Is it Morbin time? You know what, guys? Let's set up a poll. Chat, who should we do? Who? Torb, or Torb? Who do you guys think? You guys let me know. Am I gonna do tanks and supports next? Not today, but yes, at some point. As I think it's gonna be Torb. Russian election poll. Yeah. I think Torb's got it in the bag. Okay, guys. Torbjorn time. Let's do this. Make him taller. What my parents said. Molten core sticks to opponents. Ugh, that sounds awful. That sounds terrifying. God is typing. Look at this, guys. We're killing it with Torb right now. Okay, oh, stop. Okay, the problem with Torb. All right. Problem with Torb. Okay, guys, what are y'all's problems with Torb? I'm not gonna say anything for a little bit. What are y'all's problems with Torb? Let's find the first Torb post. Okay, there you go. Designed to address flankers. I do not think he is good at addressing flankers, or he just spams and that's it. He's too encouraged to spam. Overload is a lazy design ability. His headshot feels like BS. His gun feels not very good. What's good and what's bad about Torb? He has so much damage that just feels cheap. He puts turret and don't do anything other than sit and spam. Kills tanks. Turret is a place and forget. Turret is boring. To encourage to use hammer. His turret is good. His gun is good. And overload is silly. Small hitbox good. Gameplay loop boring. Yes. Keep going. Neither rework his power into hammer. No nuance to his kit. Turret has been nerfed out of all relevancy. I don't need this tip. Yo, thanks for the bits, man.
My favorite character is the Reaper guy.
Oh my gosh.
He is
why would you spend $1 and say that?
Honestly,
why?
What is your game?
Why would you take the time to do that?
These two revolvers and only takes about 3 or 4 shots to actually execute a kill, so it comes really in handy, especially.
High damage, terrible actually makes him just a choke spammer. No nuance to his kit. I already had $1. Well, reduce hammer swap time to 0.0001 seconds. Increase hammer damage to 350. Yeah, so the general consensus is that Torb is an AFK mental spam hero because his projectile is a little slow. And his fire rate is a little fast. His turret is weak, and even when it was strong, it was not fun to play against. It lacked nuance. His hammer is basically worthless. It has nothing but meme potential, essentially. And they keep doing things like buffing the hammer speed and the swap time, like that's gonna ever matter. Like, okay, chat, raise your hand in chat if you've had a situation where fixing your or repairing your turret actually mattered. Seriously, how many times in a game have you guys actually repaired a turret and it actually mattered? Like, I can probably count on my thumbs the number of times it's, and I'm not even convinced that it would have mattered. I could have just placed a new turret. So like they do these things and it's like, okay, it doesn't matter. Like you have an entire aspect of his kit that doesn't even matter anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like say what you will about old Torb, but the armor packs like actually kind of mattered, right? They were actually pretty important, right? It was kind of gimmicky for sure, but it actually mattered. It just doesn't matter. What happened here? Oh, thanks for the $1. Oh my gosh. Ah, see, it didn't do a text to speech. Get rolled. Thank you for the $1 though. But it just doesn't do anything. So we need something that's gonna change the spam. Maybe either remove turret, but that's probably the least attractive option, or make turret more skillful and more in tune. Like the problem is that you have this turret guy, but he just doesn't do anything. Like think about it, guys. Like how much of your value from Torbjorn comes as your turret? Like very, very little, right? Like it's basically just your spam, and then turret's almost an afterthought. Like I told you guys I had a Torbjorn session the other day, and it was literally a lot of times, especially on attack, turret is actually used turret as a meat shield. You throw your turret as like as a tool to like help you flank. So I think he's way too spammy. Fire rate's too fast. Turret lacks an identity, and the identity he has is pretty low skill. His ultimate is kind of whatever. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't really know what his identity is. I don't know what his identity is. This one might be the hardest one, honestly. I have the least hopes for reworking Torbjorn. I don't. The nice thing though is I don't think Torbjorn, I think it's like whatever, leave him as is. Like I don't think we need to do anything crazy with Torb. If Torb isn't perfect, it's fine. Yeah, so let's just see what we got. Molten Core removed, replaced with Goliath mech. The mech is a minigun on M1, a Molten Core blob launcher. M2 is self-repair, a spotter grenade. The ultimate is eject when it leaves the mech. Remains, it must have been a bob. It's probably too much. I like the idea of giving him more of like interesting builder options, but probably too much. I remember back in 2017 when people were talking about like if we could only give Torb like more like builder options. I remember that was like a big thing of discussion. So maybe that would be interesting. Let's keep going. Grew an inch taller. I also think Torb was the least. Yeah, I think Torb was the least suggested character as well. So okay, all right, Stefano. Stefano's gonna come in and save us, guys. Less spam, more intention, skill value, less guaranteed value. Primary fire does more damage, 90 damage, and no longer uses ammo, but overheats like Orisa. However, the fire rate is reduced by 70%. I want basically to have a rifle that also is shotgun. Okay. Perhaps you can charge up each shot for more power, like Winston's saying, but I guess that makes him Hanzo, make it change speed. Secondary fire does 20% more damage, 20% higher speed, and fires 50% slower. Turret now, you could heal. I see you, Mush, but let's be honest. Again, how useful is that going to be? How are you going to repair a pedal platform? And the Iliari turret or a SMTP is going to be basically broken anyway. That's the problem with like the builder identity. It's like it's such a heavy part of his identity, but it's also such a flawed identity. It feels like sometimes. Turret now shoots projectiles at like 40 meters if you're moving horizontal from it. So projectile. Turret is weaker the first 8 seconds of life than normal, then after seconds maybe stronger. Longer penalty for moving turret. I don't know. I don't love these guns. I think I will say this: slower fire rate, maybe more impactful damage or projectile speed. Maybe. I think that's definitely a probably pretty safe bet. Yeah, exactly, Trico. We're doing a Torb discussion, Koki. If you have any ideas, feel free to drop in the Discord and drop your ideas in here. I don't know, guys. This is not looking good. Secondary fire damage increased on targets targeted by turret. Put that fire rate back down, please. Probably, yeah. Remove turret. Pressing shift gives Torb 2 options depending on the situation. Option 1, he places 2 slicers from the PvE. Low HP, high speed, decent damage if left unchecked. Ooh. Okay. Hear me out. I like the spirit of these changes. What if turrets... Yeah, what if it was more summoner and less permanent static when it came to Torbjorn? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I necessarily... We'd have to like think very carefully about the actual summoning of these things, but the idea I like. Okay, like so if we're going to lean into the builder side of things, it needs to not be a put it and leave it there. It needs to be an interactive part of your kit. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be a builder, you're not a builder and leave it. It needs to be a temporary, like Bob, summon. I don't think that fits the lore as much, Quinston. I would prefer something a little bit more proactive. Like, the slicer option is really interesting. Maybe a stronger turret, but a longer cooldown that doesn't last that long. Proactive, temporary, deployable enemies, turret. I mean, even if it is turrets, it needs to be a turret that doesn't last forever. It dies after 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. Now the challenge is how or even do we even want to incorporate that with his hammer? And the nice thing then is if we do that, then we could lean into the old school suggestions with Torb, which were like having different turrets for different situations. And I would say 2, 3 different turrets. They could be I don't know that a healing DPS fits anymore, but could be a a slowing turret, a short range turret, a long range turret, slicers, something like that. Deployable recon drone or something. Yeah, I mean, it's an idea. Maybe using hammer to swap the turret types, maybe, yeah. I don't know. Freeze turret and knockback turret? Maybe. My only concern with those is then you have the CC issue. Is how annoying would that be? I'm not sure. Now, Trico, you said that you had some different ideas. Maybe you don't love these as much, but let's still look through these. So you're trying to really lean into the anti-flanker side of things, where the first shot is a hinder. But it doesn't slow them. Zardian, can you link me a video of that? Can you link me a video of that? An example? What do you guys think about hinder on a forge hammer? I don't know. Yeah, I'm always hesitant to put CC. I think that's the thing we have to be really careful about. It's not intuitive. I'm just not so sure that I like leaning into the anti-flanker identity. Ammo reduced, armor increased, health reduced. Primary fire removed. Shotgun is your primary fire. Spread reduced. Increase fall off. Max damage reduced. So now shotgun hero. Alt fires lava pool. That's interesting. So one time lava pool, 50 damage, lingering 25 damage burn. This is a little bit OP. The 25 per second for 2.5 seconds is a lot of damage. 62.5 damage plus the impact. That's a little bit. But is that too gimmicky? Right. These are some interesting ideas. I don't know if I love them though. Having the idea of molten core basically buff your gun is interesting. I want to keep that on tap. Molten core buffs gun burn effect. Be like a wrist javelin that hinders instead of... I just don't know if... I'm so hesitant to give more CC, man. Yeah. I definitely think weapon swap could be sped up. So these are more like minor adjustments, which I think are fair enough, but I'm just trying to find something new here. You know what I'm saying? See, I don't even necessarily agree that the turret is not much of a problem even in lower ranks. It's so weak now, which again is fine, but the problem is they've made Torbjorn's the kind of like cringe easy part of his kit weak, but they've not really compensated elsewhere besides buffing his fire rate, which was not a really skillful expression of the character, you know? I'm feeling okay, Sal. Thank you. Well, it's his most skill expression out of all of his abilities, but it's also still like one of the spammiest primary fires in Overwatch 2. It's not Junkrat level, but it's pretty bad. Cheers, Salty Egg. Overhealth reduced, cooldown reduced, now applies burn damage to primary and turret doing 10 damage per second for 5 seconds. I mean, that's an interesting, like if overload shifted from HP to slight burn effect, maybe. It's interesting. It just feels like a lot of what we're doing now is just putting lipstick on a pig. You know what I'm saying? Like we're making what he is now a little less annoying, but not really addressing the root issue. And I don't really know though how I address it. I feel like the only thing that I'm confident that might be fun to toy with, but I'm not even sure if it'd be good, would just have different deployables. More interesting temporary deployables. Let's keep going. We're almost done. Maybe we'll come up with an idea. Now one. I mean, yeah. Turret doing bursts of damage instead of a dot would also be better than the current. But wouldn't that be annoying to play against if it wasn't like... I know what you're saying, Trico, but it'd be more relevant. Yeah, but you'd have to find a way to like coincide that with a more value, more challenge out of actually deploying turret properly. Like I'd be more interested in that if it actually had like a shorter duration. What if you swap turret and molten core, give him a giga turret, and nerf molten core, tighten the spread of his shotguns? Yeah, I mean that's definitely an idea. Is if you flip flop the ultimates back to like a mega turret, almost like Bob, right? And molten core was your cooldown. I mean that's the thing, Ton Makita, is like how do we? People are talking about like, oh, his hammer is useless, but like how do we use I honestly like, the more I think about Torb's hammer, the more I think it needs to be reworked to where it's exclusively offensive. Like you can, we talked about like throwing it or hitting somebody, or there's like some sort of effect that you can get out of it. I just don't see how we can make Torb hammer being a repair do anything in Overwatch 2. That's true, Zarya. It just doesn't fit Overwatch 2, having somebody that can repair things. It doesn't fit the flow, it doesn't fit the dynamics, it doesn't fit the speed. It's worthless, it's bad now, and I don't think that there's any way that we can work it to where it's useful. So if he's gonna keep his hammer, there has to be something else that he could do with it besides fix something. The only deployable things that we've liked so far are the temporary choose your hero kind of a thing, and hammer doesn't really coincide well with those temporary things, because the more time you have to spend hammering something, the less reactive and proactive it can be. It's like in the moment decisions. That's what you need. This is the idea that we're looking into different types of turrets, but my only problem is I'm scared of CC turrets. That's the only thing I'm scared of. Yeah. Make them target the enemy you shot was burst. Add the variation of his turrets in the Ironclad, though much less powerful. Give him some way to upgrade the health of his turret and buff them in one of the variations. This is kind of broken. I definitely agree with the different types of turrets that are temporary. I think that we're on the same page there. I mean, it's silly, but again, it's like kind of in line with what we want. Again, closer what we want, yeah. This is an interesting idea where you can place the turret anytime. Whoops. But it has only a certain percentage of an active time. My only problem with this, okay, chat, here's the thing with the temporary deployables. Hear me out. The temporary deployables and having a spike in value when you deploy the turret or the slicer or fill in the blank. The benefit of that is that it allows him to not only fit that defensive dynamic. If I can walk forward and throw out something as I go in, a slicer or a drone or something like that, that's really useful on attack. That's not, I have to set up my turret on a flank, an off angle around where I think the team fight's going to start. That's the problem with current Torb. So this is a good idea, but I still think it would limit him to be more, I mean, unless it was an insta build. I like, this is definitely along the lines of theory that we want here. It just feels like with Torbhammer, we're trying so hard to make it useful, and I just don't see any way that it's useful. Like, why? Hear me out, chat. Hear me out. No. No. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I want the animation. You guys, I bet you guys know what I'm talking about. No, where is it? Where is it? Where's the animation? Do you guys know the animation I'm talking about? The flip, yeah. That's the one. check it. What if Tor's hammer, okay, this is super stupid. He did like a flip slam, like short, like a mobility, you know what I'm saying? With a small damage AoE. Like this, but like way faster. Like think like this. And it had like a 6, 7, 8 meter range. Kind of jumped him forward or something. Am I smoking something? Not any major damage. But like grandpa does like a flip. Maybe I'm smoking crack. But I don't like the E mobility. I think what we've learned is that overload giving him like armor and movement speed and fire rate is just kind of dull. What is Torbjorn going to... I think you're asking the wrong questions. The question should be, why not? I don't know. I'm reaching, y'all. I'm reaching, y'all. Some sort of fun mobility is what I'm looking for. That's all. It would just be to disengage in his current playstyle? Maybe. But what if we shifted his current playstyle more into his shotgun? And flip-flopped it to where his fire rate with his primary fire was way slower. And he did more damage up close. What am I looking at here?
In the DPS rework balance chat I sent a vid of a fun little ability rework I did with Torbjorn workshop. It is obviously to the extreme, but everything can of course be mitigated down.
Okay. My problem with current hammer, guys, is that it has no range. So if you don't find some way to give it some sort of mobility and tie it in with a hammer, people are not going to use it. Creates cover with a throwable. Like that? No. That's the problem, guys. Is like if you have hammer, you can't. We've already decided that like hammer as a repair tool just doesn't work. So hammer has to have some mobility tied with it or something, or make it throwable like a boomerang, right? I mean, that my only problem with that is it's basically just budget Junker Queen knife. No, I that's a fair argument, maybe. Yeah. Let's keep going. I'm hammer flip. I'm putting it as a potential idea. It's one of the corny ideas. Not like saying that I'm even going to recommend it, but hammer just doesn't work. Hmm. Like I don't hate the idea of us throwing the hammer. I just, yeah. I don't know. I'm just hesitant to like attach any sort of serious CC to like a DPS projectile. Sonic scanner turret, yeah. I think sonic turret, drone, slicer, something. The only, yeah. I mean, I understand what we're going with here. Yeah. So like knockback. Is that what you're saying? Like kind of like a knockback? That's an interesting idea, Tom Makita. Yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting idea. It's just, could it not be abused? Okay, hear me out. What if hammer was a cooldown? Like or like you couldn't do it often. It would be okay if it was like a one time every 7, 8, 10 seconds thing. That wouldn't be as bad. I think in his current hammer situation, it would be okay. It would not be good. I don't know, guys. Yeah, but I don't know. It still feels like we're sweating so hard to make camera work. And it just doesn't work. I'm telling you guys made fun of me with the whole like hammer flip thing, and yeah, it doesn't really fit his identity, but it's the only way where like hammer would actually function. You know what I'm saying? Because it would actually be tied to like mobility. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this later. I'm gonna have to think about. I think we'll have basically. Here's what we've got: more turret options on temporary action, slower fire rate. We can even decrease the arc if we can slow down the fire rate. Probably should look at overload, making sure it doesn't do too much. And that's pretty much it. I don't think anything else like seriously fixes it. And immediately cleaves through armor and overhealth as an extra effect, but I don't know. I just don't know if it does enough. Immediately stripped all armor would be really scary. Well, Torb's hammer makes friendly Ryan swing his hammer, so it's like a voodoo doll, you know, like, you know, oh wait, why are you swing? You're like start swinging your hammer, and Ryan can't control his hip character. I don't know. I think we're gonna leave it there. I think we're gonna leave it there. Wow, that was an ugly one. I guess we finished it on a bad note. I guess that's fitting, you know. It's kind of sad though. If hammer gave a short buff to the turret, yeah, I think that's more of a short-term solution. I would just love if his strength shifted away into being like more interesting and more dynamic with the amount of turrets that he can use, you know, instead of just placing a turret. What I was thinking was having a hammer flip, like you said, and make it share cooldown with overload, make overload the reverse of what it is now, over health, lower fire rate, but attacks do a huge burn effect. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea. Thoughts on the Iliari nerfs? I haven't actually addressed it yet. I'll look at it in a second. Maybe some with the devs who rework characters, it's not always easy. Yeah, Torbjorn is so far has been the hardest one, I think. Torbjorn and Bastion were quite hard. I mean, honestly, all of them were hard. What if he could throw the hammer to his turrets and give them a buff like Brig Pack for turrets? It's not a bad idea. Yeah. I'm gonna let it sit. I'm gonna let it sit for now. I'm gonna let it sit. Let's look at these Iliari nerfs really fast, and then we can talk. Is Iliari in comp? Is Iliari in comp? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So she's in ranked. Healing health decreased, or heal decreased from 40 to 30. That's reasonable. I think the pulse rate is probably something that I'm glad that they didn't go through with, because I felt like relatively like having a smaller heal that's more available is probably more consistent. Burst is, you know, bleh. Shields decreased from 75 to 50. That's reasonable as well. Now blocked by barriers is fine. I mean, it's consistent. Projectile size decreased. I mean, these are all fine. These are all fine. I think these are very, very fair nerfs. I think these are fair nerfs. Yeah, fun discussion. Yeah. We'll by the way, we'll come back to the hero rework things. We'll come back, and I'm gonna make a video on it. First off, with all of y'all's contributions, I'm gonna make a video on our conclusions from the 6 heroes, and we'll come back and we'll do some support and tanks in the future as well. I'm really looking forward to heroes like Mercy. And I don't even know if I want to do Roadhog, but maybe. But yeah. Think she'll still be meta? I don't know. I think she'll be meta at a certain rank, probably. I mean, people are certainly going to be forcing her because she's freaking fun. But I do think, chat, back me up. I don't know what you guys think, but from playing her a little bit myself, she feels really hard in low to mid ranks. Like, really hard. Like, if you're not actively hitting, because I've actually made a tweet about it, because not exactly about it, but indirectly here. You can cancel a shift with her turret and you get the cooldown back. Okay. So like I made a tweet about it here where I'm like, you know, Alec Dawson talks about like pylon healing is accounted for around 63% of her total healing in games. We like to bring that down for a ratio. That's fine. So I wasn't disagreeing with Alec, but I was like saying that like, hey, keep in mind with her design playset, I don't think she's able to utilize her being consistent, reliable, with limited range, and having occurs angles, nerfs are fine behind being 100% should be a major problem. So basically the TLDR is that like it shouldn't be a problem that pylon does the majority of her healing, because she doesn't do a lot of healing. Like, that's just the fact. She doesn't do a lot of healing. In fact, if you are trying to heal with her gun too much, you're probably trolling the lobby. I remember when I was first playing her, I was like, dude, this healing per second with this character is huge. I'm gonna try and leverage that and like heal my tank and stuff and like shoot and stuff. It was awful. It's like, it was terrible. I did no damage. I was contributing nothing. It was awful. It was not good. So I realized that I was like, I'm trolling unless I'm like playing DPS. Like, I think that like the vast majority of her value is from taking angles and kind of playing selfishly with your turret most of the time, and then only using your burst heal when it's necessary. Now, I do think that maybe in lower ranks, using your beam and your turret just like on your tank front line could be good, and then just farming ult. And her ult's probably halfway decent in lower ranks. So maybe I'm wrong there. I don't know. I find her like synergy with Orisa to be kind of like, besides the ult thing, to be kind of like incidental, because the problem with Iliari is that like you lack like consistent healing. So you need a player with a consistent support. And so you're going to pair her with something, and that's going to pair well with Orisa. Because if you're like, all right, we need BAP with Iliari for the consistent heal, right? Well then, yeah, you're going to lean more into Orisa, who's also been kind of a little bit buffed, I think. I don't know. I think it's more about the fact that she's being played with supports that synergize well with tank. Yeah, she seems strong with Sigma. Yeah, I just think that it's more of like a you can't play Iliari really well with like dive tanks kind of a thing unless you also have an Ana. That's like the super weird thing. You know, I just don't think that she synergizes well with dive tanks. She has no way to heal them at all. And the problem with a lot of dive tanks is outside of ball. And I guess, I mean, even Doomfist, like they need healing. Like Winston, D.Va, they need healing. So, and the other thing too is it's like Reinhardt is kind of not as a bit of a heal hog too. Orisa is a bit of a heal hog, but she can kind of function without it for a period of time. It just feels like she has an impossible time healing some of these things. So it's like, I think people are like freaking out over Orisa, but I don't think Orisa's like giga buffed. I think Orisa's pretty much slightly buffed, but she also got nerfed for the armor changes. So I think Orisa's like, if anything, teeny bit stronger, but then she just doesn't synergize it well. And again, this is what happens. Like I agree that Orisa is definitely, I'm glad that we're talking about reworking and nerfing Orisa and all that kind of stuff, because like I agree. But like you guys are doing this with, I mean, not you guys, but people were doing this with Ana just because she happened to be like, I don't know. I get a little annoyed when we like always, it's like the synergistic heroes. Like people forget synergy. I mean, Blizzard does the same thing with their balancing, to be fair. They freaking nerfed Brig. I mean, that tells you how much they know. You know what I'm saying? Why are you nerfing Brig? Okay. Oh, one other thing before I guess we do like Ask Spilo, maybe we'll do some Patreon games or something. Is I wanted to talk about this is a good comment here. I want to talk about this comment here. So I'm not gonna go like rehash the same thing about like toxic masculinity and all that kind of stuff. Basically, there was a video that SVB made about how real men need to cry more, and then Awkward says no, you know, that's not good, and then SVB is like, yo, what do you mean, man? And then I responded with a tweet, and then where's my epic pen? My epic pen is trolling me. Okay. And then I made it, and then they had this big discussion yesterday because SVB and Awkward are friends, and you know, my stance on it is pretty in between. Like, not really, it's not in between. I think the Awkward is just wrong, but I think that he tries to help people, and I think a lot of things he does help people. But anyway, too long TLDRs. Made a video encouraging people to exercise, take care of themselves, cry, find emotional support, things like this. And then this was a comment that I found was really interesting, and I think you guys will. I think this is worth a discussion. So Awkward's entire persona seems to build on flexing and stroking his ego. But, like, I want to ignore the awkward part. I'm not as interested about the awkward part. Here's in here. Because I don't know so that I necessarily agree with this part. Like he gives that impression, which, to be honest with you, like, that's unfortunate. I can't really disagree with people getting that impression from him. But somebody, I just don't want to get into it. As to this particular video, well, see, that's a very important point, Desmond Dragon, because I want to talk about this. As to this particular video, yes, subjectively everything is right. No offense, you don't actually say anything new. That wasn't my intention to say anything new. But I feel at this point, the idea of defining these traits as masculine is just as misleading as divisive as a lot of awkwards. At this point, we pretty much realize that everything was traditionally labeled as masculine, misogyny, lack of intelligence, and alpha male is actually a toxic trait. The thing that we now encourage, health, stability, intelligence, positive traits for people, not men. See, I agree with this, but the problem with this, okay, so this might be controversial, but it really shouldn't be controversial. The reason why it's labeled toxic masculinity is partially cultural, but a lot of it is just having a lot of testosterone. You tend to, that lends to certain behaviors other than others. And so does that mean that you have more testosterone, therefore you have lack emotional intelligence? No, but you might be more focused on certain aspects of things than others. That's just how it is. There's a reason why traditionally those are more masculine traits, working out, doing physical things, is because of physical male attributes. And so I think that I agree. The reason why bear with me, there's 2 points I want to make. Number one, is it making it positive traits for people, not men? I agree. But I do feel that these things are more common in men because of testosterone, because of an innate desire to go out and punch something in the face, more aggression, right? So I think this is, to be honest, a little bit silly, this comment. I respect what you're saying here, but I think that saying it as misleading and divisive, no, it's not. Listen, guys, I'm not involved in just games. I have worked with young men in sports, mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai for many, many years. And, the correlation with, the testosterone junkie kind of thing and this type of behavior is really, really strong. And so the reason why I target it for, toxic masculinity, being a man as being this, is because it's important for that subgroup to be reminded of these things. Everything in this video we look for in women just as much as men. I agree. But for some reason still feel the need to label it as healthy masculinity, because sadly it's not as necessary to label it as healthy femininity, because it goes without saying. I feel like that should be obvious here. For some reason, the world likes to go in the cycle of patriarchy, radical feminism, and toxic masculinity, repeating sometimes we all want the same basic things. And I agree with that. The other thing you have to understand is that the reason why I'm labeling this towards men specifically is because if I just said, be a good person, there is a large percentage of people in the video game community that wouldn't otherwise be interested in the message of the video. If I say, young men, we need to man up and start treating people with respect and to care for other people and to not be ashamed to cry, the reason that I say that is because I want to know that I am talking to you, young man. And so immediately I garner your response. Wait, what? No, a man is being about this and right? Does that make sense? Men might need to be directly appealed to and called out. That's my point exactly. And I'm not just saying that, like, I understand that, it's the Overwatch content creators, but I'm not coming from that position. That's why I feel like I've been able to help more people as a coach, is because I'm not an Overwatch player guy. It's the same phrasing as Black Lives Matter, right? When you say all lives matter, Yes, but also in this particular instance, we need to bring extra attention to the Black lives. Exactly, that's exactly my point. Cheers, Rex. It's the same thing. We want everyone to be kind and considerate and strong. But we know that men with whatever the biological differences tend to have some good and bad traits more often. And I want to appeal to that specific culture, that subculture, by directly challenging them, because I do, from my experience, they do need the targeting out. Exactly. So that's my point. So I appreciate the sentiment here, but I do not agree with what's being said. And the next part really ties into that as well. I'll wrap it up with just a tip out: you can exercise regularly, eat well, have a decent table, and be depressed only. And in that case, talk to a real professional and stop looking to Overwatch coaches to fix your life. Now, this is true. This is true. Guys, I have a big background in mixed martial arts. I was a personal trainer for a while. I've served as a mentor for children, teenagers, and adults. Every job I've always had has always been either life coaching, and obviously as a martial arts coach, that was basically all I worked with, were troubled kids and troubled adults. I don't know what it is about martial arts. I think it's like the respect kind of thing that's people immediately look to that. But again, I don't like the gatekeeping here. This kind of ticked me off, because what's the problem with saying this? What's the problem with saying this? Now, again, could a professional do it better than I am? Yes, obviously. I feel like that goes with the saying. But what's the problem with this? What's the problem with this? It goes back to my same problem with this here. When I make a video on Awkward's toxic masculinity, who's going to watch that video? Who's going to watch that video? Who are my subscribers on YouTube, guys? Who are my subscribers? Who is the average subscriber on YouTube? I can tell you who they are. I have the YouTube demographics statistics. I can tell you who they are. They're Overwatch players, and they're late teens, early 20s, young men. Do you think that demographic is interested in looking up therapy? Do you think that that's something that's very common at that demographic? And if that demographic is interested in taking care of themselves physically, where do you think that they're going to get their advice from? So let's stop gatekeeping who can provide and encourage other people to take care of themselves, when I'm trying to get people to do the right thing. I'm not telling them I'm not telling them how to live their lives. I'm saying that this is important. You need to look into this. Here are some basic suggestions as a just very vague, simple advice. Like I said, nothing new. Everything is objectively right. That's why I'm playing it safe, right? I'm not telling you how many bench press sets you should do. So my point is that you shouldn't be gatekeeping life advice because, I'm not a professional. First off, that's not entirely true. And second off, the whole concept is that I'm reaching a demographic that otherwise wouldn't be there, because the nerdy Overwatch coach guy is encouraging them to go find look into physical fitness, go see a nutritionist, see your doctor, see your friends and family, get therapy. Why is that a bad thing? All these guys are just growing up like the rest of us, learning all these things. And again, I am learning things like I agree. Like the rest of us, they're just doing it on screen. And if you feel like, wow, this guy really gets me, it's because they were dealing with your reversal. Overwatch aren't special for having these issues. Yes, but it's important that people within these sub-communities are preaching the same message. Because if you find a guy in a white suit or a white doctor's thing with a stethoscope around his neck telling you 19-year-old should get therapy, you're gonna get tuned out. And the other thing is, I actually have real life experience doing the typical manly guy things. Guys, I was just like you. I lift weights, I do this, and I've struggled a lot with the stress. I've struggled a lot with you know, not being enough physically active with mental health. I've struggled with being stuck in bronze and over chasing the video game thing, with having to being far from friends and family. I've been in those circumstances before. And I think that like that's what allows me to do my job effectively. Just like me, for real, right? So I just think it's just a little bit disrespectful, which I can live with, but it's also misleading to say these kind of things. I totally disagree. I totally disagree. It's important that we have people in various subcategories, even if they don't get it 100% right. I think that's the key thing. If you're, you know, having people preaching this good positive messages, I think that's really important. So I appreciated this comment because it's right. If you guys want to know how to get your life together, I want my video to inspire you, but I don't want my video to guide you. But at the same time, it has to start somewhere. You know? Right, that's the thing, Matt. Exactly. So I have a platform, a very small platform, but I hope people in my group, you know, understand the importance of exercise and fitness and social connections and sunlight, right? And taking care of yourself and crying, right? And so I think that like the reason why I present these things in the way that I do is because I am the traditional masculine guy. I lift weights, I sprint, I compete in sports. I'm on a travel flag football team. I played tackle football. I was very aggressive. You know, growing up in high school in tackle football, and I competed in martial arts and jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and I do all the traditional things, and I play video games, and I hang out with my wife is my best friend, you know, and like, I know we're getting off topic here, but like, I don't know. This one just kind of like rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, because it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. Yeah, you're welcome. I don't want to assume the worst about this person. I don't want to make the same mistake that they're making for me. Their intentions were helpful, right? They are right. They are right. You need to go like, but I just want to make it very clear. That's what I want to do. How old am I? I'm almost 29. So, yeah. Anyway. So TLDR, just because you're not a professional doesn't mean you can't get good advice. And it's important that we let people within their communities reach out, whether it's to primarily masculine or primarily gamer communities, because they otherwise might not get the message. I mean, what did Jesus say? If they're not against us, they're not, you know, if they're not against us, then they're for us, right? There's even a whole story in the Bible about like, oh, you know, they're baptizing in your name, but they don't do things exactly the way that we're supposed to do it. And he's like, if they're for me, that's it. You know, and to me, I think it's the same thing. Yes. And I think the commenter again had good intentions. I'm so tired of like, here, dude, I had to delete so many comments in that video I posted last night of people that like were calling Awkward an incel or saying that. I'm like, guys, that's the whole point of the video, is that like, you know, yes, if you want to sit there and tell me logically why you think Awkward is doing things with bad faith, that's fine. But don't just sit there and throw names. Like, that's just, again, that's the whole point, is we're trying to get away from that, you know? No, I agree, Ruff. Yeah, exactly. So this is why I posted this. I think this is really good points. Really good points. Really good points. No, they don't know what incel means. No. They don't know what incel means. Incel is usually somebody that they don't like. You see, and even the whole term incel is honestly kind of like, I see that get used in a really sexist fashion all the time. Not in particularly awkward example, but somebody who I don't like that is a male is more often than not called an incel, and that to me is inherently, you know, sexist language, and I don't appreciate that, but it is what it is. Is there a video up on the subject? I don't know. No, not really. Maybe I'll make a video on it, but I don't know. I don't know how many content lasagna layers we can set up here. I also don't feel like this. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because I thought it would be interesting to talk about, but I don't think that it needs to be a video, because it's not like, oh, it's going to change, it's going to help people. Like, I think it's important, but I don't know. I don't think it's like that impactful. Spark Faith. Yeah, it's up on YouTube. I posted it last night, and in the pinned comment, I have the actual full SVB awkward discussion. And fair warning, it's a long discussion. I don't even think I caught half of it. Yo, that's a fire truck. But yeah, it's not the same one. Matt, listen, when I do these videos, these aren't like scripted and like, you know, I got out of the shower and I was thinking about it after the football game, and I wrote down some notes on my paper, and I just had to talk. The last time I did one of these videos is after a workout too. A lot of those videos, the reason why it's the shirtless, because I'm either working out and I'm just thinking about something usually. No problem. And I'm still like wet and stuff. Dude, I think best in the shower too, bro. I seriously think the best in the shower. Like shower time is OP. You know, I was thinking about like a good analogy is like Dr. K. You guys know Dr. K, right? Is he professional? Yes. Is he like the world's best psychologist? Probably not. No. But he appeals to a certain subset of people that wouldn't otherwise get the help, because he's got the whole like gamer esports tag. You know what I'm saying? So like it would be like commenting on a Dr. K video and be like, well, actually you got this couple of things wrong, and actually technically this is like, bro, he's actually like out there, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know a lot about Dr. K, to be very clear. Trying to show off those traps. I don't even do any trap exercises, bro. Traps like one of those muscles that I think, honestly, if you're working your traps, it's just kind of strange. If you just do normal stuff, you just get traps. Walking, yeah. Awful defensive about being shirtless. It shouldn't matter, really. It's the OnlyFans accusations. I have to fight the good fight. Deadlifts and squats, yeah. Deadlifts and squats. I do cleans as well, for like explosive power and stuff, because the cleans are one of the few. In case you guys don't know, my exercise routine is actually more focused on like speed slash power kind of a thing. I actually train more for like speed and because I do a lot of sports stuff. But I only do squats like once every 2 or 3 weeks, and I don't even do deadlifts. I only do RDLs. I'll do deadlifts once I get a trap bar, but deadlifts don't agree with me. Cleans are okay. I don't go very heavy with them. I just mostly try to get the bar off the floor as fast as I can. I don't really train much arms anymore. I like bench because bench is fun. I do a lot of weighted pull-ups. I do really heavy weighted pull-ups, and I do a lot of, I sprint about 2 or 3 times a week. My arms are pretty strong though, but that's because when I've trained arms, you know, off and on for like 10 years, so I can do curls. I can do sets of curls with 50s, like 5-6 reps for like 4 or 5 sets. I don't know what that is in kilos, like 22 kilos, 23 kilos. 8 tips for sticking to a diet. I mean, it's the same thing when they did the video last night. It's like improve, don't fix. It started with me in high school when I was like, I didn't really eat a lot of junk in high school, but I you know, every teenager eats more junk than they should. So I like cut out like the one really bad thing I'd eat like a week and replaced it with something else, and I stuck with it for a long time. And then I kind of like slowly and that's been like my whole life, is from teenager till now is like my diet now is like dirt clean. I don't eat jack all. It's bad. But because I did it so slowly, I built the habits. Not only did I make it easy for me to stick with a diet, but I actually like the food that I eat right now. Like my taste buds shifted away from like, there's some things that I ate in high school and even 5 or 6 years ago that I probably will never eat again. I have like no desire to eat. So I think that's the key thing for like diet as a whole and exercise as well. I knew so many people. So here's the thing. I was the kid in high school. You guys wanna know my workout story? Okay, buckle in. All right, true story. So I played high school tackle football for the first time. I played a lot of baseball when I was a kid, and I was really fast, and I was catcher because I was so quick. And this is when kid pitchers were really bad, so I could stop all the balls, and I made all-stars and all sorts of stuff. So then I stopped baseball because I struggled with this stress of batting. I was a good batter. I was a good bunter because I was so fast. But it stressed me out so much when I was about 11 years old, 12 years old. I stopped playing baseball because of that. So I played flag football, and then when we moved to North Carolina, a little town called Waynesville, and I played tackle football for the first time, and I was so skinny. I was always super, super, super skinny. And the first season, I was a really hard worker and a really hard hitter, but I was undersized, and I played a decent amount, but I did nothing flashy. Basically, I was like a tight end blocker, even though I was literally half the weight of the people I was blocking. And then the next season, I gained like 10 pounds. I was literally 86 pounds when I turned 14. I was tiny, and I spent that season quarterbacking, running back, corner. It was like middle school, basically. And I made all-stars, and I played guard because I was pretty strong for my size. And the coaches we had were so good with coaching. They taught me like all this blocking technique, like leverage and turn people out of the hole and stuff. It was crazy. Anyway, long story short, loved hitting. Where am I going with this? But I love tackle football. Anyway, I get into high school, 14, 15, and I remember going to a high school football game and being like, yeah, I think I'm going to play for these guys next year. And this is a true story. And I was like 115 at the time, weight-wise. And my friends laughed at me. It was my Joker moment. I was like, bro, I played football in middle school, and I was like good. I made all-stars. I was like small, but they're like, oh no. It was like, it wasn't like a mocking laugh, but it was like, no, you're going to get hurt. Like, you shouldn't play or whatever. And so I was like, all right, that's it. So I had the whole like grind set. Oh, I'm going to do it. Like, so I got up at like 6 a.m. for probably over a year and did P90X in my parents' basement when I was 16 years old okay, you ready for a crazy thing? I did it with my 10-year-old brother. I did it with my 10-year-old brother did the entire P90X workout thing with me. Outside of like 3 or 4 days that he had migraines. Not even joking. And so I was like, dude, I did it. And dude, it was awesome. And it was also kind of miserable. Like, I think that the thing is like, I'm like the guy that preaches the message of like, improve, don't fix, because I fixed my workout schedule. Like, I worked out for years, an hour a day, I did everything. And guys, at times I freaking hated it. Like, I hated it. Now, I loved the feeling of it afterwards. I loved the strength that I got afterwards. It worked. It was awesome. I won MVP my first season I came back. True story. I still have, actually, let me get the award. Hang on. Hey, where is it? This was in a private league, a private school league. I don't even know if they exist anymore. It's been over a decade. Check it. There it is. And I won MVP, and I was running back, and I wouldn't say I would have been was like a star player necessarily, because weird thing is I always struggle to apply my speed. But anyway, long story short is that like I played well, was successful, but like what I learned is that like just gritting your teeth and doing something like can only work so long. I think. Looks homemade, yeah. Shut up. It really kind of makes you miserable. Like, and the fun, it took me years of like working out to find out like what was efficient and like minimum effective dose and what my goals were. And I think the biggest thing for me is like, dude, the last year and a half, I think, of working out have been like the best workout years of my entire life, because I've started to like really like set my goals of like, what did I wanted to get faster. I want to get more athletic. I've always been fast, but I wanted to get faster. I wanted to be able to jump higher. I've put on like 2 inches on my vertical jump in like the last year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, right? And you know, I already broke the 1,000-pound club with my lifts, like with back squat, deadlift, and bench press. And I was like, I don't really care if I'm like a trillion times stronger. I just want to be like more athletic. So I shifted up my workout schedule. I took more rest days. I worked out for less with more intensity and I just had more fun with it. And since then I've just had so much more fun. It's been so much easier for me to stick with my workout schedule. And so just like reevaluating how I'm doing things. And I think also like the science is kind of coming out now that like minimum effective dose and all that stuff. And it's like, P90X, and that was like quote unquote cutting. It wasn't really cutting edge, but that was like, it was like, oh, you know, and dude, there was like 26 moves in like an arm workout or something crazy like that. Like you did so much volume, you know what I'm saying? And so I think like, you know, everything was like, you know, dude, do you guys remember the Insanity workout? Oh my days. I don't know. Do you guys remember the Insanity workout? Bro, that was absolutely butt cheeks.
Log on to
4. Shake it up. Go.
Dude, I did this entire workout on before my second football season. I combined this with going to the gym and lifting heavy weights like 3 times a week, bro. It killed me. I mean, dude, I had insane endurance. But it was just, yeah. It just wasn't necessary for speed. Like it wasn't gonna make you faster, you know what I'm saying? And I remember they had like a speed workout as well. Insanity Asylum. Dude, I did this whole workout too.
Up and through. Come
It
on.
was, dude, these workouts were freaking hard. Not just like in terms of but like the intensity and the technical capability was like intense, dude. But I guess my point is that like these are like crazy hard workouts and stuff, but like they were so inefficient and like they were way harder than they needed to be. You know? It wasn't CrossFit, no. I was a CrossFit hater at the time. But it was like a lot of really, really intense, like high volume, you know? So anyway. So I guess again, my point kind of wrapping around is like, it's just like, you know, it's like about quality, not quantity a lot of the time with working out. So I think like over time I learned that, hey, I don't have to like want to like, you know, I can like actually enjoy this a lot more and still be making goals and progress without like literally like, killing myself. Cause it was rough, man. I guess we should do some Ask Spilo.
I need a drink. Do you like one?
Yeah, actually, yeah. No, I've got some water still. Yeah, cheers, S Shinto. Yeah, I'm planning on doing another one of those with like Bastion, maybe. We'll see. Exactly, Matt. Exactly, Matt. People look at like, oh, they train like Navy SEALs train, and I always laugh when I hear that. Because Navy SEAL training is not going to make you stronger or faster necessarily unless you're not strong and fast at all. Then obviously running around and doing physical activity is going to make you stronger. But if you're already strong or fast, it's going to wreck your body. It's just supposed to, it's like mental toughness, exactly. Okay. I guess we can do some Ask Spilo here. As Lusu, how should you use your ult when it can counter multiple enemy ults? I just think the first one. Like I would the first one that you see, use it so that then immediately afterwards, whatever else gets used, you might have already gotten value out of the extra HP, and then you can get value and force it anyway. Just use it on the first one. It's always the rule. They went grit more than fitness. Well, yeah, I mean, especially early on, you know. If you've uploaded past rework ideas for the series you're tackled. No, but Desmond, we're gonna do a video on like the TLDR of what we did. I'm hoping to have it. Well, shoot, I actually need to get a thumbnail going on here. Do I need to get a thumbnail of this? Yeah, I probably should get a thumbnail. I'm gonna message Baggins. 6 DPS heroes, 6 hero reworks, maybe just rework, big text over Pharah, what was it, chat? Pharah Bastion, Torb, Junkrat, Reaper, who is the 6th? Who's the 6th? Sombra. Right. You can check yesterday, day before yesterday's stream if you want to see some more. Cheers, Varashi. I haven't talked as much about the current contenders composition, but we'll maybe talk about when Al goes live, which is what, tomorrow or day after tomorrow? How do you deal with the fear of shooting charge shots with Sojourn? You don't. You just got to grind it out. You take a deep breath and you hit the shot. You take a deep breath, you try to hit the shot. And if you miss it, and you miss it, and you miss it, and miss it, you just keep practicing. You keep going. I think you have to kind of work on that a little bit with the Iliari as well. Yeah. Okay. Can I do a small crash course on how to use Translocator, like you did for the macro of what Sombra can do to match? Yes. Very, very, very quick Translocator thing. Okay. Here's how you use Translocator. I wish I could go black screen, but I can't. If you frontline Sombra on an angle from your team because enemy team is not running snipers, then your Translocator should either be held like Questron to use as a defensive cooldown, or you can place it backline somewhere so you translocate back towards your team and then immediately reset up your angle 2 seconds later. So your cycle is very fast, right? If you go for backline Sombra, because enemy team have snipers or Zens and Anas that you want to assassinate, like let's say you're looking for the assassination on backline, then your Translocator should be in their backline so that you can translocate out and then get right back in faster. The bad thing is when you have your Translocator over here, but you're going for backline, because then you have to translocate out here and set all the way back up, or if you have your Translocator in their backline, but you're mostly just frontline off angling. Dang it, all that time drawing. No. Okay. Dang it, man. Okay. Your team here, enemy team here. If you frontline off angle, here, your Translocator should be here, because you don't want your Translocator in their spawn if you're just kind of holding a frontline off angle. So then you can do your cycle in and cycle back out again much faster. If you're going for backline assassinations, depending on the composition, then you set up on the backline with your Translocator, because when you shoot the enemy in the back, your cycle is super fast and you don't have to go all the way back to your team. You need your Translocator to match your playstyle, and that depends on the enemy comp and the map. Does commanding shout stack with speed? Yeah, I have no idea. Does anybody know? I don't know. I think it's capped. Yeah, I remember that. It's capped. Yes, what they said is right. How would you play against a comp with a lot of burst damage as a Summer flanking Kiri? I think to force out with a lot. Go late, and try to find somebody who's isolated, because if they have a lot of burst damage, it usually means that they're like more like sniper-oriented characters or burst-oriented characters, which means they're probably also pretty fragile. Don't worry about the others. Yeah, that's mostly it. That's mostly it. Anything else is just like a a nuance, you know what I'm saying, off of that. Like Sombra sometimes can frontline versus sniper comps if she avoids the sniper sightlines, in which case you would want your translocator in the backline because then you can translocate out and then go assassinate the snipers. But basically that's the simplest way of looking at it. So early, what do you do? Play passive, angle stack? Yeah, you could just put more of a passive angle. What do you think about balancing the game around artificial meadows and making everything balanced? I don't think this is I think this is like a pessimist's way of balancing the game. I think it's a fine short-term solution as long as a long-term plan is in effect. If, for example, like the current Ana meta before Iliari, let's say Iliari was never released, and Ana was meta because the other supports just sucked, but we don't have the resources right now to develop a full Mercy rework or a full Baptiste rework to kind of make those heroes more valuable. We just don't have the resources right now. So if in the meantime you want to nerf Ana or just throw a trash buff on a couple of heroes, you know, maybe not a total trash buff, but something that's nothing crazy, I don't have a problem with it, especially if it's been a couple of months. I think it's okay. I think in the meantime, if you want to add some spice in the mix, that's okay with me. But like, it should always be complemented by a long-term vision of like actually not having to worry about this as much. What's a consistent life engineers? I do think it's enough to make him viable. It doesn't really address the issue. Here's the thing with Lifeweaver. He's fine now. He still just doesn't really have a niche to fill. He doesn't really have an identity. Yes, the changes did make him have a bigger impact. The problem is that the things that he was weak at before, he's still weak at. Neutrals, spam matchups, you know, he's still a little bit fragile, a lot less so, that's probably been the biggest change to him, is that he's a lot harder to kill now. So that he can actually function as like a kind of a peel thing, but he's just, yeah. I don't even necessarily think he's not fun to play. His weapon does feel a little bit better here, but as long as the weapon swap is a problem, it's going to be an issue. You good?
This is the class I had today.
Oh my gosh, that's spaz.
This is how I had to act on the outside.
You're a moron.
Dude, I started the class today with my 7-year-old.
Why are you wearing a Lake Junaluska shirt?
Walking in, going, I don't believe in God. And that's how
gosh.
my class started today.
Oh gosh, children always come in with a take.
2 children forgot hair ties, which is why I had to have my hair down during rounds. And then this is why I was laughing. Sorry, Rosie.
It's fine.
I was like, Rosie hit her in the wall, but it's really funny. Oh, my bad. Don't ask me why Layla had my phone videoing. Don't ask me. She was like, can I video the rounds? And I was like, sure.
Oh my gosh.
Boom!
Oh my gosh.
I mean, oh, one of the kids was like, no, the same kid who came in today saying they don't believe in God, tells me, my teacher got me in trouble because they said I said a bad word, but I didn't. And Louie's like, was it the F word? And Rosie's like, what's the F word? And Olivia's like,
kids,
can
man.
I write it out? And I was like, why would you write it out?
Kids, man, dude, kids are crazy.
Kids are like little.
They're crazy.
We talked about it earlier.
Yes.
Their emotional maturity is like
Inconsistent. How the heck did we go from supports are weak and die to everything? Everything is diving. They have no help at the start of Overwatch 2, and now we're here with supports are way too strong. They thought supports were so there hasn't really been much of a power shift. It's just been a mentality shift, and supports have actually had to start taking. Okay, here's what's happened. People have started to figure out the adjustments with Overwatch 2, how to leverage the support passive, how to use your cooldowns proactively, how to adapt your playstyle and your positioning and not stand perfectly still AFK the entire fight. Along with that has come from a lot of supports that have refused to adapt to that playstyle, doing something like this. And rank, and supports that are very happy to do something going, whoa, right? And so then now what happens is that you have people that are actually taking proactive action and that are at least mechanically halfway competent, have a lot of impact in Overwatch 2. So, as always, this is something that Egoist Cat and myself talked about at the start of Overwatch 2. Supports are fine, you just have to get your butt cheeks in order. And now this is where we're at right now. I do think that a lot of the supports are OP thing is a typical cultural overreaction, where that's the new axe to grind. Is what happened here? I always forget what that notification is. Oh my gosh, $20.
That is disturbing.
Thank you.
Watched your 6-hour how to tank vid, played placements and placed P4. Keep it up. Really enjoying your content.
Nice. Congrats, mate.
Also one of the most realistic coaches/streamers I've seen. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the $20. That was very generous. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed the placement. Yeah, we were talking about working out, and we kind of got off in a rabbit hole.
Most valuable.
Or rabbit trail. Wait, rabbit hole?
Rabbit hole.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah,
Thank you so much for the donation. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it just, people's perceptions change. It's the new thing that we all hate as supports. You know, 6 months from now, who knows what it's going to be. You know, the thing is you can look objectively at the changes into Overwatch 2, and besides, it's really just the support passive that's changed. But people are a little slow, and you know, it is what it is. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It happens. But yeah. I was watching a stream and this game got me wondering, how do you even play dive versus dive as a DPS? Team comms in the game I was watching were Ball, Summer, Trace, and more curious. It's basically, okay, so you really need to watch some of my earlier, like, here, let me tell you what you need to watch. Because I talk about this pretty in detail, but it's a great question. How do you even play DPS in dive versus dive? Is it, I think it's here? Where the frick? It's like stuff starting with like these leaked owl scrims, pro analysis of gladiators versus defiant. That might be a good one to start with. Any of the scrim reviews or the owl analysis stuff, because basically what we talk about is like the way that you play dive versus dive is both teams want to kill backlines, but both teams can't kill backlines. So what ends up happening is that Sombra Tracers, the tanks and the DPS duel on off angles with support help, and the team that wins is those duels gets space to go for backline. So like you're like looking at this and you're like, we can't just dive Kiriko and kill Kiriko, so you need to force Kiriko Suzu elsewhere, or force TP elsewhere, and then you can, so how do you force TP elsewhere? Well, it's with pressure elsewhere. It's a game of space and not necessarily just 3-2-1 dive backline. And I think that's what a lot of lower mid-rank and really even contenders teams they really struggle with. Yeah. How should team cohesion be built with a group of players that haven't played in teams before? Good planning, quality, and reps. That's all. Good planning, quality, and reps. Good ult tracking. What's the plan? Execute over and over and over and over again. How do you feel that Blizzard is balancing on a poorly? They would take your mail one instead of nerfing your most one. They've nerfed sleep, damage, healing, self-heal, except the anti. I don't think so. I think nerfing Anti's duration like a tank would be a fair one that would keep her open. But I don't think I'm not overly concerned. On a damage, on a sleep dart, still very, very effective. I wouldn't worry as much about it. The self-heal one is kind of annoying, to be honest, but it makes her a little bit more fragile to dive, which I think is a fair trade-off. I don't think it's a big deal. How long did it take to upload videos when you I don't even want to talk about it. True story. Matt will back me up. It took me 6 hours to upload a 2.5 minute long video. Is there a way to play Lasagna Theory on ranked solo queue? Yeah, I mean, it's just very hard. Like, let's say if your team uses an ultimate and you know the enemy team has an ultimate, you can anticipate that they're going to respond, and then you can respond with yours. But it's hard. How does it feel to know that get out? Okay. Screw off, man. Spilo Farah take. Funny that you should ask that after our big discussion. See, day before yesterday's stream to know my discussion on that. Do you plan on making any pro POV analysis? Yes, I'll talk about that in a second. Yes, so I'm gonna skip this one for now. But here's the plan, guys. In 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that, when the OWL season is basically almost concluded, I am planning on doing a mega OWL POV stream where I do probably 5, 6, maybe 7 POVs back to 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 back. And I'll let you guys vote for which ones I do. and maybe we'll chop them out and release them individually, chopped up on YouTube or something like that. But yeah, I think that would be fun because there's been a lot of them released at once. In fact, there was even a YouTube channel I found that has released ones that should not have been released. Yeah, you're good. But I think that would be fun rather than doing them constantly, because I think people get kind of like, it's a little bit of exhaustion, you know, because the people I kept doing the Dallas Fuel ones, right? But there's so many of them out there. We'll get to pick and choose whatever ones we want by the end of the season. Should I give up? Feels like everything I work towards is in failure. You just said once that quitting is okay as long as it's followed by starting. By start, I'm talentless, left off the bell curve. Anything. Stop trying to say that. I'm trying to say that I'm doing the game. I don't know, man. Here's the problem. There's two ways of looking at this, right? There's the way of that, like, you know, everything that you've applied yourself to, you haven't enjoyed or haven't been able to figure out, right? So there's a problem with your ability curve at fill in the blank skill, okay? The other way to look at it is that the way that you apply yourself to anything is flawed. I don't really know what I'm drawing here, so just ignore the drawings. So like, it's not necessarily that the skill is wrong, that Overwatch isn't for you, although that's the case for a lot of people. It might be that you just don't do a very good job applying yourself to anything. And it sounds, and for a lot of people, it's not necessarily like you're not trying hard enough or that you're stupid. A lot of it comes back to like mentality, and without like actually having a conversation with you, I feel like I don't really want to tell you exactly what the case is. But like, if you feel like you suck at everything you do, it's really not an intelligence thing. I've known a lot of people that I've had this issue, and I've had at points in time where I felt like this too. It's more to do with like the mentality that I'm approaching the skill with, more so than anything else. Sounds like a solid take a break from the game for me. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. It's just a game, man. You know, it's just a game. It's just a game. And the thing is that people have like, I don't have time today to talk about it, but I actually had a discussion with a student the other day about like how like people have like RPG rollouts, you know, like where your life experiences leads you to have certain skills that lend yourself to different things, right? And so you might be a type of person that struggles with certain things but does exceptionally well in other things. And either way, even if you don't, like let's say you struggle with everything that you do, you're bad at everything, like, okay, so why is that? Is it your mentality? Is it you get frustrated at stuff? Like, I think that like it's very easy to get frustrated at that, but that's not really the solution to the problem, you know? You need to kind of look at holistically at like, okay, why do I struggle learning new things, you know? And try to address the root issues there. Easier said than done, obviously. I'm lacking mechanical skill in a lot of things. All right. I mean, if you're talking about video games, that's not that important. But I don't know. It's not that important. You know, being silver in Overwatch or diamond or whatever, it doesn't really matter all that much. With aim trainers, yeah, you can. But if you're the type of person that gets tilted or frustrated or is inconsistent with aim trainers, then, you know, that's why like for so many people, the root issue isn't just like, you know, what you're doing in game necessarily. What do you do as Winston when the enemy team plays really close together? So I have to bring him more in difficult to die DPS. Yeah, basically the way to play Winston versus people that clump is that you can take any angle or flank that you want to set up on backline. So you can basically save your jump for every engage or get the perfect engage with maximum cleave. You make up for it while being, you know, kind of getting chunked quicker, but you don't have to worry about like getting poked out while you're setting up. And remember, when they go to like Brig Moira, they also have a lot less burst DPS to burst you down. Besides, like maybe they go Reaper with, but they don't like Zenyatta is the scary thing. He can kill him easily, but the Discord's gonna light you up. BAP has a lot more damage than Moira does, right? So it's like while they go to characters that survive more and clump more, they also go to characters that contest off angles that you can stage from and that punish you less with range damage. Do I force tracer and circuit if I'm one trick? Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's tough, but it's doable. Let's do a couple more here. If I'm playing Sigma and the enemy is on Reinhardt, what do I do when the Reinhardt straight pins to my backline doesn't get killed? I can hold the backline up. I like rocking Reinhardt and then trying to control their backline as best as I can. Because like a Rein pinning into your backline is a huge gamble. Like it's very, very easy for him to get punished. And as long as you have shield and resources, and but you're basically saying he doesn't get killed and I can't hold their backline off. You messed up, or your team messed up in some way, shape, or form. If you're unable to control their backline and their Reinhardt's able to pin in for free, maybe your team misplayed it, but more often than not, there's some other aspect of the engagement that you're missing. Again, if you want to send me in a replay code with something like that happening, you can, but you should be equipped to control their backline. How the strategy of learning game works in so many other things in life, and how we can use gaming to learn the skill of learning. I agree with that. The more the Rein pushes, the more I'm going to go back. Yeah, you can give space too, right? Like, right, the Rein's in your backline. You can kind of control the enemy backline without pushing. Just kind of give space. And then the Rein dies, and then you push back in. That's a good way of looking at it, yeah. Do I offer in-game coaching review in the same session? Yes. Yes, if that's something that you want, you can always clarify in a session. I like this a lot in follow-ups. Would you recommend eating my own fingernails and toenails? I've heard it in heightens the mechanical. No, but you can make a great stew out of it. Let's do one more. Let's do two more. Who's the best Reinhardt in the world? I don't think I can give an objective answer here. I mean, obviously, Hottie is great. Like, I mean, Hottie's my guy. But honestly, I've never seen them. I haven't seen them play against each other enough. I haven't coached Cloudy really. Ben Best is really good at Rein. But there are other Reins. I think someone in Overwatch League is also a really good Reinhardt. I don't know. I mean, Cloudy is really good, but I don't think I can give an objective answer. How often should you be bubbling as Winston, not in your own dives? I would only worry about it if you can't directly contest or isolate their own backline. It can be used to isolate it. There's some circumstances, but not very often. Yeah, let's stop there. I think we've put a decent chunk in things, and then we'll continue. I think that we're gonna be doing a little bit of catch up with it, but that's just, it is what it is. Someone clears, yeah. Okay, chat. I think we call it. Let's also raid over to somebody. Send somebody fun. Yeah. Yeah.
I want you to know that my child.
Yeah.
Quietly on the run. Your child.
Yeah, my child's being an unpleasant. All right, let's toss a host over to. Wait, there's a sniper bot. How did I know there's a sniper bot in the practice range? I didn't know that. Yes, I didn't know that. I don't know. I didn't know that. All right, chat. I don't know who this person is. They're playing Kiriko, and they're screwing around the training range. So I don't know. They look nice enough. All right, chat. You need to activate him. Ah, okay. Okay. All right, chat. What else is raid over to Gearlow? I'll chat with you guys in 2 days. We'll probably have an Owl Companion stream. That's the plan anyway. Loves and kisses. I'll chat with you guys later.